You guys, welcome to an all new So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey. This is your pal Ryan. This is, well, you know what? This is kind of new. This intro will be new, but then the interview you're going to hear today is old. And I don't mean old like me, I just mean old. It's like this was recorded in the end of January, beginning of February, and with Tom Sandoval. Yeah, have you guys heard of Tom Sandoval? He's on a show, Vanderpump Rules. If you haven't seen it, it's worth checking out. So this was done, and then I think I waited a month to release it because I had to do a lot of like edits and things like that to the piece. And I was like really nervous releasing this for some reason. I was really proud of it, but I remember at the time I was really wanting Tom to like it. I really wanted to do good for him and present him in a good light. In retrospect, it's interesting to see how things can change. My own feelings, I hate to be a narcissist here, but like my own feelings have changed so much. And I had been threatening to do this for a while, is re-release this interview that we did. And then Maritza had this great idea because I'm in New York right now. I'm leaving today. Um, yeah, sorry about the weird release schedule this week, you guys. I didn't plan on doing the things that I did this week. I knew I was going to do the Monday thing that I did, which I'll tell you more about later. But then the Roni premiere party happened, and I'll go into more detail. I think I'm going to do a whole thing on that on my Patreon, but I'll also talk more about it next week as well on here. But it was so fun and so amazing and so sweaty. Anything that I do is just now sweaty. I don't know, like I love New York so much. The humidity here is, it makes me face my mortal enemy, which is sweat. It just, this has now turned into a sweat podcast. I will say I was so nervous to go. Like I was so nervous to go to this thing. And my body, I need to I need to Google this, is that even when I feel like, okay, I'm good, I Ubered here, it was in air conditioning, I'm just going to walk out of the car into the NBC building because it was at the Rainbow Room, this New York party, which was just beautiful. It's at the top of the 30 Rock. It's iconic. And, so happy and lucky to be there. But it's one of those things where once you get into like another stable air conditioning environment, my body then almost retroactively sweats for the time it thinks it should be. I don't even know what's happening. But I remember Tracy Morrissey, who's been on the show a lot. I got to meet her in person. And she even said at one point, she's like, wow, you're still schwitzing. You're still, wow. And she compared me to that one, remember that one, when Whitney Houston accepted some award, was it a Grammy or something? And she was sweating on stage. She was like, woo, she's like having a real Whitney Houston moment. And I will never forget that comment by Tracy Morrissey for the rest of my life. And that, I realize, by the way, there should just be a whole separate episode on iconic moments of my life where I've sweated through. Because then I was thinking about this yesterday because I was deathly ill. I still feel like shit warmed over. It was a mixture of the sweat, going too hard, too many free drinks. I mean, I ended the night with like two martinis at the Regency. Yeah, where it's tell me it's not about Tom. Where where Tom frequented, and which was amazing. But I was on cloud nine. I was living my best life. And then I remember we went to like a third location to go see stand up. I think at the Comedy Cellar to see Dave Attell, and that was sold out. And that was when everything hit me, and I realized, and I'm with a group of people that I know, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to fully Ralph in front of all of these people. And I dipped out, dude. Just like Sandoval. I dipped out, dude. I had to dip out, man. And this last day and a couple hours has been miserable. Miserable. So even when you're living your best life, just know that you will have to pay potentially the price for your best life. It's either that or I just choose to live a healthy lifestyle. And I'm just very conflicted about that in so many ways. Also, I apologize if you're watching this on YouTube. The lighting, of course, is super weird because I don't have my equipment here, my actual equipment. I don't have a good webcam. I just didn't plan on doing all of this. So we'll be back to all regularly scheduled programming on the podcast next week, and I can't wait to finally talk about Crappy Lake. We'll be able to talk about the new Roni. I'm going to recap the first Roni episode on the main feed, and then all the recaps will be going to Patreon after that. I think that's what we voted on over there. So yeah, the Roni party was just incredible. I got to hang with Sarah Galley, which, by the way, I was hoping to record in Sarah's cloffice, and I felt so bad. I couldn't do it last night. I couldn't do it this morning. I ended up finally sleeping for a solid 8 hours finally, but it took a long time to get to that sleep place. And so, Sarah, I doubt you're listening, but I'm sorry. I will make it up to you. I want to see the Cloffice one day, and hopefully I'll be back in New York at the end of August, I believe. And if anybody's listening to New York, maybe we need to do a meetup or something. There's so many people that have reached out since I've been here, like, oh, you're in New York, that it seems like we could do some sort of meetup or something. That wouldn't be too crazy. So I feel like I've missed a lot of pop culture stuff, but on Monday's episode, we're going to talk about the actors' strike that just went into effect on Thursday. I'm a proud member of the Screen Actors Guild. And AFTRA, the American Federation of Television Artists, and I have been a proud member for over 20 years. So I will explain what that means for you, what that means for us, the performers, and kind of walk you through that. Now, I just want to remind people that the Writers Guild strike is already in full effect and has been for months. We had one of my best friends, Nick Wagner, on a couple months ago who was explaining what the Writers Guild was striking for. And it's been 2 months, and we're striking for similar things. And by the way, you guys, it's not crazy. We're not out there asking for billions and billions of dollars. I mean, maybe collectively it would be nice to get there someday, but that's not what we're asking for. And if you compare that to some of these corporate overlords like David Zaslav or Bob Iger, who, individually, Bob Iger especially, there's some things that I've liked that he's done throughout the decades, but I just think they are they're in the wrong headspace right now. And you've got to realize, with actors especially, you have your Jim Carreys and your Tom Hankses and your Denzel Washingtons, they're making $20-30 million a picture. That's not, that's the exception. It's not the rule. Most people that are actors, they don't make a living wage, period. They just don't. And then their images and their performances are blasted out now with streaming in so many different ways than it was when I was growing up, where you just had TV and film. And now you have TV, film, all of these streaming services. And then on top of that, artificial intelligence, which is now wanting to use our image and pay us for a day's work. And then they're able to use our image in perpetuity as just an extra in the background, which is really scary to think about. And they don't seem to be budging on this. The people making all of these things, because they know it will be such a cost-cutting measure for them. But that's not what art is about. Art is it's a person-generated thing. It's not a computer-generated thing. And as somebody, this show is based around my love of TV and film and the arts, and of course, yes, reality show, but that's TV and art to me. But we want to make sure people are paid fairly, especially if the profits are just wildly insane. So we just want to be able to share in that a little bit more. And from when I started off as an actor to where I am now, things have gotten so much more worse and dire in terms of just making money. Residuals, I'll need to do a whole show about this, because residuals, back in the day, I remember a TGI Fridays commercial where I was eating ribs. And it was a great day of filming. Janusz Kaminski, who won the Academy Award for cinematography for Saving Private Ryan. He's one of Spielberg's longtime directors of photography. He's just a brilliant man. He directed my TGI Fridays rib commercial, which is just insane. Like, I'm working with Janusz Kaminski, like just an Academy Award winning cinematographer, and he's like, eat the rib, you put the rib to your face and make sure you look like you're enjoying the rib. That's not a good impression of him, but just trust me, he has an accent. But back then, I could do a commercial like that, and I could make $30,000 off of it. I could make $30,000 because the residual, it was like network television, all of that. The residual rate was so much higher. And now, if you book commercials, they mainly play on cable television, and for cable television, you get a buyout for 3 months of a couple $1,000s. Now you're like, wow, a couple $1,000, that's huge. But remember, if you're an actor, you don't get those opportunities. They're few and far between. There are only, I would say, 0.25% of the Screen Actors Guild that work regularly, period. Everybody, we all have to substitute our money as actors by doing other things. I mean, I worked at an acting school for 13 years. I did tons of odd jobs. I mean, I got into podcasting, and I will say podcasting has been more, there's more opportunity for me here in terms of just earning a living wage. than acting has ever been over the years as profit sharing goes lower and lower and lower. Anywho, that's neither here nor there. How are you guys doing, by the way? I've missed you. It's so funny now during the day when I see something pop culture, I'm always like, oh, I got to tell the audience about that. Oh, I got to talk to these guys about that. And it never ends. Like, it's like sometimes I have to now turn off all notifications and make a promise to myself to not open my phone to look at TMZ and the Daily Mail and all of the websites I go to, just because I know it's going to make me want to talk about it with you guys. Okay, but we're going to talk about a little bit about Vanderpump Rules up first. Now, this interview, like I said, with Tom Sandoval, I had asked him to do this for a while. And Tom, you don't see a lot of one-on-one interviews with him. He was not like jumping from podcast to podcast like a lot of housewives or other Vanderpump Rules cast members did. He didn't have a podcast at the time. I'm curious if he will have one in the future. But he did have his band at this time. His band was performing, and like I've said, like I've held true, I like the band. I like the people in the band. I think the stylizing of the band is great. It's that thing, and if you guys listen to me during all the Vanderpump Rules recaps, it's easy to like the band and Tom in the band when you feel like you're supporting an artist that has a certain level of, I don't want to say morals, but like it's a lot more easy to love this band when you feel like you're supporting a really good person that seems like they have their head on straight. My thing with Tom was, by the way, I'm embarrassed to release this interview because I think a lot of the comments I'll get was like, oh, what an ass kissing. Like, I fully admit, dude, I had the biggest man crush on Tom Sandoval. I'm a straight dude, but I had love in my eye. I mean, just little heart-shaped emojis in my eyes as I was doing this entire conversation. And it was something that really meant a lot to me, and I wanted to do good for Tom. I just remember thinking that. But I was also just blown away because we did this interview at their Valley Village home, which I believe they're still living in for the time being, him and Ariana. Ariana was there. You'll hear her pop up a couple of times throughout this interview. And I've hung out with them a bunch, in the past regardless. But I was so happy to be trusted to do an interview. So with that, there's been a lot of conversations this week, and I think Sophie Ross, our Pop Culture Roundup co-host, will talk about Call Her Daddy. In those interviews, there was like a Zayn interview this week, which I think I'm going to talk about next week. And with the Call Her Daddy interviews, I never really listened to the full interview, but everybody will send me the clips. It's all about getting those 3 clips of like, oh, the outrageous thing that was said, or this or that, or this. But there's not a lot of pushback. And usually with those big interviews, yeah, there are things agreed on beforehand because you don't want to send your big client, if you are in PR, to get shit on or to get challenged on everything. I listened to the full Ariana Madix Call Her Daddy one, which I liked. I mean, I think the thing with this is that if you see opportunities in an interview, you want to be able to answer or ask follow-up questions. But at the same time, you never want to make them look like a fucking idiot because they actually did take their time to come. Now, usually I try to cut that off at the pass to begin with, is that I'm not going to interview people that I just violently disagree with, because I just think that would be shitty of me to do, and it's not what this show is about. There are other shows that, and also the shows that are really able to dig in are the people like Howard Stern that have been doing it for so long that people try, you're like, oh, I go on Howard Stern to be honest about a certain situation. You go on these people, but it's like, when you're building a reputation, you don't get the kindness of being able to do that immediately. You have to actually become a person in your own right, and that's the whole thing. And even as I realized going to this Roni event on Wednesday, is I have to, I have to find a way to make myself more successful and make myself more out there, so people, these interview subjects or their PR people, know that this is a place to go, that they will be treated fairly, that I do genuinely love the things that these people are involved in. So with Tom, I knew that I wanted to, I went to the band, you'll hear, I loved it, but I was also so fucking psyched to be there. And he wanted to make it good. I could tell he was super nervous. There was very jittery. He made these, I was doing dry January, and immediately that went out the window because he started making these like espresso drinks that I was like, oh my God, it's like, I'm not going to say no to a Tom Sandoval mixology drink. He was showing me all the by the way, then after this interview, I was there. I think it was like I was there for like 5 or 6 hours. Like I eventually had to tell him I had to get home after 2 a.m. I mean, we were sitting there on the back patio where supposedly him and Raquel made out. He was telling me how he put this fire line in that was like specific, that he had to go through the city because he couldn't do it. And we were talking about Schwartz. We were talking. There were a lot of things that happened off mic afterwards, and what I always loved about Tom, and there is a certain type of person, guy and girl, that I love that I'm not, that I think that's why I love so much, is this ability to have blinders on, this ability to push forward even if other people say they're stupid. Like if other people say, I don't get your whole deal, and they're like, that's cool, dude, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And to me, why I've said this so many times, why I love that about Tom was that, like, people did make fun of the band. People have made fun of Tom's looks over the years in terms of, each year he comes in with a new look like an X-Men or something, is that he cares, but he doesn't care enough to let it stop him. And sometimes with doing anything in the arts or anything in life, you do need this kind of obliviousness that will keep you moving forward. Because it's so easy to get stopped. It's so easy to have the gremlin inside of your head tell you, you suck, you're no good, nobody will like this. And, I feel like he's had a lot of those comments pre-Sandoval thrown at him, but he was like, well, I'm still doing this. And to me, I was like, this is the straight man that I look up to. Like, wow, he really cares about doing this. It's always been a dream of his to sing. It's always been, and he's that guy, or there are types of people like that. You're like, well, this is a crazy idea, but who knows? Like, you never know. I mean, you never know. Like, maybe it could be a huge success. If he keeps working hard, you never know. You never know. And I had fun every time I went there to see this band. And I don't know. There is something about watching somebody on TV. You do. I mean, to quote Tom Schwartz, he got lost in the sauce, man. Of course, I got lost in the sauce. I'm fucking excited. He's like taking me around to every room. He's showing me one of the original chunky sweaters from Jack's. He's showing me all of his costuming. He saved all of his costuming. Like, I was wearing props. I think Maritza has all these photos that we're going to post later on as well. I was truly, truly enamored with this dude. And he also talks about the show, about the production, about even like paying for the fireworks for Rochella. And part of that, I think this is in this interview where he says, listen, of course I want my friends to have a good engagement, DJ James Kennedy and Raquel at the time, but I also know it would look amazing for the show, and the show wasn't willing to pay. So he said, I can picture it. I can picture those fireworks. I can picture an audience looking at it. And he really is proud of this show. He's really proud of Vanderpump Rules. And sometimes when people talk a little too producery, I get nervous because I'm like, you're not a producer. Don't produce the show. We want to see reality. And I think that's another reason why things got so messed up for him, is that I felt he was living, obviously, this double, triple life where he was lying to the closest person in the world to him that he was living with, Ariana. And I thought, or it seems like he thought he could make it all work. He could figure it all out. He could make himself still look like a good guy. He could, and it just all fell apart because his phone fell out of his pants at a Tom Sandoval and the Most Extras concert at Tom Tom. So everything came crashing down in a sense. I mean, like we're seeing, life moves on. The dude is not canceled, obviously. He is walking around with his head held high, even though we've seen now every clip of every scene that they're shooting for season 11. And we saw that they were at Sir the other night, and Ariana and Katie and all of them were there. And then we saw Tom in another area crying. And the thing that sucks when, you've lied about something this important and this, and by the way, this isn't the podcast if you're going to throw the everybody's cheated at me. I don't care to hear from that. I've heard it enough. Yeah, everybody has cheated. Sorry you didn't have a show at the time to make money off of it. Like, people are like, Ariana, I'm so sick of her, like, it's like, everybody's been cheated on. I'm like, wait, so she shouldn't take opportunities because everybody's been cheated on? Like, it's just not realistic, and it wouldn't be realistic for us if we were in that situation as well. And like I said, Tom is not canceled. Tom is still out there. Tom is a good-looking man. I mean, that's the other thing. You guys and girls, I see that a lot of comments too of like, well, at least he's hot. Being hot will rectify most anything in life. Do you realize that? Like imagine if Tom Sandoval was ugly. It would be game over. But he's a good-looking guy. So I looked up to him for that because I also looked up to him for somebody of like, well, he's deeply in love with Ariana, deeply in love, and she lets him go off and do these weird projects. She supports him because she was there every time I was at those shows. She supported that dude. Like I don't want to like I don't. There was also sometimes light painting of Ariana wasn't as supportive, and that was just bullshit. It felt like an excuse Tom was using, but like I just everything I saw, everything, even conversations I had with Ariana in private, or I think we'll re-release the two Ariana interviews I've done on here, but it's always been supportive, and always like and kind of like f the naysayers. She always had that attitude, so I didn't really buy into that at all because I thought Ariana. My whole thing was, wow, Tom knows who he loves, and it lets him go off and do these weird, wild things with his life, and he pushes so hard that eventually they start working, or at least that's how I came at it. Also, I think this made it in. I don't know if we cut this, and I've got to find all the cut audio. I know Marissa keeps asking me to do that, but your boy is disorganized, so it's on a hard drive somewhere. So I'm going through files to try to find the cut things. There's a lot of cuts in here because I cut a lot of like in the beginning especially. There was a lot of pausing. He would like really think about what he was about to say, or he would kind of stutter over something, and so I would edit those things out just because I wanted to make him sound as good as possible. I wish there was an edit button to make it seem like I loved him less in this, but I was truly enamored. I was enamored being there. I couldn't believe it. And also, me, I was nervous as hell. Thankfully, it was, we did this in late January, so it was a very nice climate in Los Angeles, no humidity. So the sweat wasn't happening like it does at the Real Housewives of New York premiere this week. But I just remember just loving it. I was a kid in a candy store. He sent me home with souvenirs, you guys. I have the Richella wrist bracelet, which I believe he gives me on this audio. He gave me a Tom Tom hat. He gave me a lemon from his lemon tree. I was just like, yeah, I'll fucking take a lemon. He gave me a bottle of bourbon, his Tom's Good Lovin' that he has with Schwartz. Is that still a liquor brand? He gave me that. He gave me Jax's old wig hair from when they dressed up like prosthetic old men at Jax's bachelor party. He gave me that. So he knew, and probably still knows, what a huge fan of this show I am. And I think he is cognizant and aware of the cultural impact of this show even before Sandoval. I just don't think he ever planned on being the reason, or why the reason would be that it returned to its former glory for a huge bonehead move that he made. And the other thing is, if him and Rachel, whatever we call her nowadays, genuinely were in love, I don't think that's a different story, but I don't think that is the true story. I think that's another lie that he potentially told himself and others, but I think there were other dalliances. I think there were other women. I think there were other, like, certain lifestyle movements. And there's something in him that I even comment on this, is that he's just one of those guys that always wants to be out. And Ariana at the time was very much a homebody. You can hear her. She's, I think, upstairs watching TikTok while we did this whole thing, or Love Island or something. And that's kind of like, I relate to that. But it worked for them because Ariana trusted him. But he's that guy that always wants to be out, which if I ever, I'm not going to ever talk to him again, I believe, on here. But I would be curious of, what is that in you? Is it insecurity? Is it something that it just makes you feel the most alive you've ever felt? Because I get exhausted. I get exhausted with all these VPR people. Sheena's always out. I'm just like, dude, how many parties? I would be so... Man, if I go to one party a week, I'm like, oh, shit, it's time to take the month off. It's just so much. And these people are just... They have to do it. It's their job. And then certain people like Sandoval or Sheena, it seems like they genuinely love to do it. Like, Sheena is made for this shit. We also talk a lot about Dodie in this. Or I think there were a couple of Dodie things. This is before I met Dodie, and this is before... But it is interesting. I do go into this interview with certain preconceived notions because of the show, or my knowledge of the show, and also I just, it's so funny because I'm like, why the Jax thing? Why is he such a jerk? Why can't you guys be friends? I truly didn't understand why they couldn't make this work. And it is funny that all this happened and now Jax is potentially back on the show and the spinoff or whatever. And, but that base thing of, I remember thinking in this interview and thinking when I watched the show of, like, you guys should all be friends. Why can't you all be friends? Why? Why does he hate you so much? And that is still a question of like, why the hatred? Was it because, and my thought at the time was like, is it because he's just the good guy? Is that Sandoval's the good man and Jax knows deep down that he can't be like that? He's tortured by that potentially. Because in my head, Sandoval was like the good guy. Sandoval was the good guy that, he was the guy that didn't cheat. He was the anti-Jax. So that is the opinion I had going into this interview. Now, listen, I would love to do a whole show about Crappy Lake, but I think this is time to release this interview. Like I said, I think probably I look like the worst one in this interview just because of my excitement levels and my extreme love that you can hear of Tom Sandoval. But I think it's interesting to hear. I think it is interesting. It's a long interview, but I think it's interesting because it gives us a before, a pre-Sandoval of where we were at, where he was at on the show. Now, this was right before they filmed. I don't even think they knew if they were going to film the new season yet. He tells me about Vanderpump Village in this, that it was going to happen. Like, there are a lot of like nice little moments. There is a lot of talk about his music career and what his influences are, but we do get into those show topics. So skip around if, you don't want to hear about the music stuff. You can skip around. It's all good. Just don't tell me about it. But it's all in there. I think there are so many little nuggets in this interview. But I didn't want to release it during Sandoval because I thought that was like way too like and I want to make sure this is I'll put in the show notes and the title that this is something from a long time ago. This isn't a new interview because I don't want to trick anybody like that, and I'm not that desperate for downloads for that as well. But I think it's an interesting piece of history. Not that this interview is like mind-blowing, but I think it is just in terms of where we are now and where we're headed and what season 11 potentially will bring. We are seeing Tom show up to all of these things. We are seeing him still do so many TMZ walk and talk interviews. I mean, I had to listen to him and Billy Lee talk about Adele the other day with the TMZ reporter. I'm so curious what his mental state is, and we can only speculate. But after hearing that Howie Mandel interview, it wasn't good then, and I'm curious where it is now. And it seems like, just from pictures and stuff like that, there is a little bit of anger in there, and I think it is wild. Especially, listen, we got 2 Emmy nominations for Vanderpump Rules. I told you guys this months ago, and I've told you again and again this was going to happen, and it happened. And I think Tom, in a sense, if the person I know, I would imagine that he would think he is a huge part of that. And in a sense, he is. But everybody on that show played a part in this season. He is just one of the fulcrum pieces that really set it over the top. Him and Raquel. Now, that's the other thing of Raquel needs to come back. Oh my God, they owe that Emmy to Raquel. That's not how Emmys work. I'm sorry, that's not. Emmy voters aren't like, well, Raquel, we need to single her out. It's the overall show. And they did the overall show, and they handled it so well, that production. I mean, they really snapped back in, and it was right place, right time, but also the right production crew behind it that were able to piece this together. They got an Emmy nomination for the fucking editing of that one episode where they did the sometimes always in the jacuzzi. I can't believe that. That's the episode, because remember, it starts off with like this flash forward, flashback, flash forward, flashback, and it was the device handled so well. And did you know sometimes I've always in the jacuzzi with her? I can't believe that. By the way, I am praying that if Vanderpump Rules wins an Emmy, Ken is the one that accepts it. I like to think the Academy, and I like to think jacuzzi sometimes I've always in the jacuzzi. My Ken just keeps getting more mumbly and more mumbly, and I love that for my Ken. But I would love to see Ken with an Emmy over his head, just like, we did it, I'm knock your spot clean out, here's what jacuzzis everywhere. Which, by the way, after we did this interview, like I said, we were sitting out on that patio, and I was fucking looking at that jacuzzi, not knowing the horrors that were to come in that jacuzzi. Also, Vanderpump Rules Season 11, I don't think this is going to be a big deal of me re-releasing, but if for some reason you want to use a clip of this in your Season 11, feel free, baby. This is the 2 birds, 1 stone. Let's see. Anything else about this interview? I just remember it made me on cloud 9. I also remember I did the interview. We released it a month later. Like I said, there was a lot of editing I did, and I wanted to get it approved. But also, there was a lot of, this is just classic me, just to let you in on the mind of a podcaster. I really was like holding it back for some reason. Like that's how crazy I am. I'll get this great opportunity and then I'll find a way to kind of screw it up, or like I just waited really long because I didn't know. I was also doubting if the interview was good or not. There's just so many things that always goes through my messed up head when I do these things. And so I was like, I gotta release this thing, and I was just scared if people would like it or not, and I don't know. It's all these weird things doing these things that we do when we have to put ourselves out there. It's really weird because I think I always do. I try not to read comments and stuff like that, but sometimes they'll be sent to me, and you just have to really be a strong person or kind of get like a real snake skin, a thick skin, sorry, to kind of just let other people's opinions in. And some of them can be really helpful and some of them can be really damaging and hurtful. And which is another thing that I will not be ignorant of the fact that, yeah, I'm sure it fucking hurt Tom Sandoval to hear all of these things. I'm sure it hurt Tom Sandoval to hear me do, which by the way, I was doing the Tom Sandoval lisp accent for the last 3 seasons, so it's not something new. But yeah, like we're mad. We were mad. I'm still like pissed at this thing. I think it was just a horrible decision on so many levels. And it seems not even the Raquel aspect of it, but the deviousness in which he went to hide it, in which he went to trying to plan things out, and then to make it worse. I think he made it worse week in, week out, especially with that Howie Mandel interview, and then the reunion stuff with like her keeping her shirt on. But we do talk about, and Ariana has admitted to me before, is that, you know, that's why she was always glad she was with him, because she knew what he was trying to say and would help him say it, because Tom himself cannot effectively communicate. But he's so passionate that you almost forgive him of that, if that makes sense. But then at a certain point, you're like, I genuinely want to, I don't know how your mind works. And right, you know, when you're trying to do something larger than life, when you're trying to be a celebrity, when you're trying, like we talk about the beginnings of coming out here, and I believe he says he knows how lucky he is. This is like 1 in a million shot to like have this kind of success from a reality series more than 5 years. I mean, you know, and also Tom Sandoval and Tom Schwartz, you know, most people listening, if you ever met them and have a picture with them, they were very, yeah, I'll take a picture with you. And they would always smile in their pictures. I mean, I've seen Tom Sandoval. If you look at photos of him, he knows how to he'll grab your phone, he puts it out, you same smile. And it's great. Like, he's so nice to the fans. But it is interesting. I think there is right and wrong. And I think that's what's so interesting about this season of reality is that it kind of broke us from the confines of what Vanderpump Rules had turned into these last 2 seasons and immediately brought reality back into play. A lot of you guys still think, well, it's all fake, it's all bullshit. It's like, come on, man. Come on. This really happened. Really happened. This really happened. Listen to this interview and tell me if Tom Sandoval would be able to stick to a 30-point plan of how to script this out. No. Listen to this interview. You'll understand. He couldn't do that. This is all real. This is all real. And to me, as painful as that is for people involved in this, it was fascinating. We will not get a season of television, reality television like that in a very long time. You think Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is going to be as gripping as Sandoval? It's not. It's going to be fascinating because we grew up with those characters as well, Kyle and Mauricio, but it's not going to have the same narrative push. Never say never. Who knows? I've been wrong many times. Thought Sandoval was an amazing dude. Been wrong. So, but listen, I'm curious to see where how he picks himself back up. My only word of advice, and I'm not the person to be giving anybody advice, was have humility, be humble, realize, you know, that you can keep apologizing, that there is not a finality to feeling bad about something that you did, and to really try to find out who you are and take the time to find out who that person is, away from the stage, away from filming, away, like, who is that person? Is that you all of a sudden don't go to some like wellness retreat where you're doing like bow and arrow and rock climbing and you're like, well, 2 days in, I get it now. I'm healed. I'm good. No, because then we see Raquel allegedly in a mental health facility. What has it been, like 8 months now? I mean, we're talking months. And we also, I say this every time I talk about Vanderpump Rules, but the rumor mill, it's got to fucking chill. And we also got to be chilling about, we can't make a meme when some like creator says some bullshit thing about contracts being signed when the contract never was signed. Like, I usually don't pass that kind of stuff on, but it is frustrating when you know it's not true. And it's like, I get it. The likes are seductive when you're getting liked and follows and all of that stuff. But it's like the little boy who cried wolf. You're only going to be believed so many times until you start becoming known as the person that pushes false narratives and rumors. There is people like that I just I'm like, oh yeah, I won't mess with that person because I see too many false things out there. They'll usually have opinions on everything under the moon, but then they'll just push false narratives. So I don't really love that because I think there is a truth to the narrative, and that's what we're trying to get at. That's what we're trying to really see is the real truth. Listen, Raquel will be back. I mean, I really highly doubt that she will not. I mean, she's coming back, but the contract is still on the table. And like I said 2 weeks ago, I feel like she will shoot a very minimum of episodes and she will get paid like she shot a whole season. I don't think they're rolling the Brinks truck up to her like a lot of people are saying, like, oh, she's going to fucking make a mint. It's not necessarily how reality television works. I think we talk a little bit about contracts in here, but I do think she'll get paid for a full season even though she is not shooting a full season, and I think she'll have a nice pay bump. But this is not something like, I'm retiring to Fiji. Not like that at all. I hope this was a good little primer for what you're about to hear. Just know that you are listening to two men. One who's obviously in love and infatuated, that's me, and another man who is Tom Sandoval. So, if you didn't go and search this interview out before, it is there for you today. I will be back, knock on wood, in Los Angeles today, and we will be back to All Systems Go. I'll be driving back to Arizona, I believe, on Sunday, but we'll be doing all new shows next week. And I love you guys. I miss you. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe. Come on. I know we've been a little spotty on releasing videos this week, but come on. Vanderpump Rules is over, but we got so much stuff to talk about. You guys know that listening at home. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So much exciting news to tell you about the show coming up this next month that I think is going to blow your mind. And here we go, presenting the one, the only, from Bravo Sandoval, the one and only Tom Sandoval. Bye, guys.
Hey, Ariana, I'm going to kiss Tom's ass for a second in the intro. Okay. So just FYI.
All right.
Don't laugh.
I will not laugh.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to iHeartRadio's So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey. Today, we start back with interviews, and I had to start with the year off right with somebody that has been on my list. If you listen to this show, you know how much I love our next guest because he represents something to me that seems to be like dying, is passion. This man has passion for everything that he does, not only in the show that he's been on for 9 seasons, but now he is finally getting his due in music. We've seen him do other bands before as well, but I actually went to and I covered the show. You guys know the show. It wrecked me for 2 days, but I had a blast at the Hotel Cafe seeing Tom Sandoval and the Most Extras. Oh my God. By the way, I'm having an out-of-body experience. Ariana knows that I've dreamed of seeing Tom Sandoval play his trumpet ever since a couple of seasons ago. Dude, first off, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good.
I wanted to promote mainly your show, which is coming up next Friday at the Canyon Club.
Wait, Ryan.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm kind of, I don't think this is really happening. This is like a metaverse thing where I'm like, I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe I've seen so many. This is exactly where you and Schwartz broke up a couple of episodes ago. You're back together now.
We are back together.
You had the Tom mobile.
We're not sleeping with each other right, but just
not yet.
But
yeah. Well, and then
you got to ease back into it.
It was so cool. I saw the girl that plays Ariana on the show. She was here at the house.
Yes.
And that was so. You go extreme on everything.
Her last name is so hard to pronounce. I can't even get it right.
What is it?
It's like Adrana, like Fedonusians. It's like this really crazy name.
She truly is amazing. She's the Daniel Day-Lewis of reality.
Oh my gosh! Like her accent is so thick. It's crazy.
I was. I mean, it is crazy to be here because I was like mainlining Vanderpump Rules seasons the last couple of weeks because my roommate Megan had never seen it before, and she's addicted now.
Oh,
but there is something so charming. I know you guys hated it, but in your old apartment with the microwave and the lights, you couldn't, I'm sure that was just a set. You didn't live there.
No, never.
But it's wild to see you here now. Does that like blow you away?
Yeah, man, it is. It is crazy. Like I mean, it's so funny because even before we shot, like even before like the world saw that apartment.
Yeah.
That was after a makeover.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. No, I'm not kidding you.
That looked like it shouldn't have been. Wow, that was after a makeover.
Oh, yeah. I talked to my landlord and I was like, hey, the building is older. I had been there for a long time, and I was like, there's 2-prong outlets everywhere. The hallway bathroom was just unbelievable. Like pink tub, linoleum floor, like coming away from the wall, like water damage, like oh my gosh, it was unbelievable.
Well, I mean, that's why it's like wild to see you guys now in houses, like seeing Schwartz in his house, seeing this and that. Like, I'm like, to see where you guys came from those humble beginnings. And it is wild because Los Angeles is full of like dreamers and it's full of those people. And the person you were all those years ago, you've done 9 seasons on this show. And it's wild you're actually getting to live out another dream, not just as a bar owner, not just as a restaurateur, but you're actually now in a band. Like, I mean, but every one of those things that I say you do, the thing I talk about again and again on the show is the passion, is that should never be made fun of. Like I think sometimes they make fun of it on the show and I'm like, dude, how I would kill for that drive? I was watching the episode where your mom said, it was a talent show. All the girls went up, and Tom was the only guy that went up, and he blew it away, and he won the talent show. And I had this question for you, but I think I already know the answer. Is that could you ever imagine where you're at now?
Well, I feel that we, in general, as human beings, should always be optimistic. Like I was always very optimistic. That story about the talent show is true. I was at I grew up going to a Catholic school until 5th grade before I went over to public school, but we had the school picnic every year. They would have this talent show and it would be like 25 girl acts and then I decided to get into it and I like danced and lip sync to like
what was the song?
CNC Music Factory.
Things that make you go,
No. Here we go, rock and roll. Then I did Young MC Bust a Move with a CD around my neck, and I won both those. I won actually 3 of the 3 years that I did it.
But the question is, I think that you did think you would be here. I think you did dream big. I think you do. I think you thought you would be exactly, maybe not exactly here, but you would be big and do big things with your life.
I always hoped to. I mean, when I moved out here, though, I was so broke. I mean, oh my gosh. I mean, that's like one of the reasons why Jax did move into that apartment and live on the couch is because I couldn't afford that, rent that was $1,500. Like,
yeah,
it like even splitting it with Schwartz, like it was such a nice break. And, there were times where I thought about moving back. I mean, I also like before, like when I lived, so I'm from St. Louis. And as soon as I graduated high school, I knew that I didn't want to go to college. I didn't have any plan on doing that.
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to be an actor, be in music, or do something like that. And I got a modeling agency in Chicago. I moved with some family to Chicago. And thank you again, Ko and Elena. Appreciate you. Stayed at their place. And then, New York, Miami, bounced back and forth. But at times, I mean, I was homeless, couch hopping, whatever, and in and out of hostels.
Do you remember those days still vividly?
Oh, yes.
Like, because I got to imagine like being here now and knowing what you went through to get here, most people would have given up and gone back to St. Louis.
I actually really liked, I liked it. Very out in the wild. It really pushed me to work hard. When you are, when you're homeless in New York, I mean, I kept my stuff behind the Gershwin, behind the desk where you would like check your luggage, and I would be in and out of that hostel depending upon if I could stay, because there was like I get the model discount, from my agency. I was with Click, and I would, I would go behind the desk. I'd be like, oh, I just got to grab my luggage. Just a couple bucks. And I would go back there and change. And I didn't even have waterproof shoes. So I would put like plastic bags in my shoes and tuck them in like this because it was during the winter. And then that was right around that time where I booked these Bon Jovi music videos. Like I was basically Alicia Silverstone. Like
you did a series of Bon Jovi videos?
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it was huge. It was massive. Was on like TRL. Like, I mean, this is back when people spent like, almost like $1 million on a music video.
Yeah, I mean I try to explain to people the power of MTV and like how much that's why we
God.
love it so much because we were raised on those things. That's where Britney Spears blew up. TRL is something that you did watch every day, and people were really putting their heart and souls in music videos.
And there was a part of me because I would start doing well, and then I lacked that consistency, and then I would go back like to struggling and this and that, and part of me thought, is this the reason why you keep going back to these rough times? Is because you want to struggle because it makes you feel alive? Is that the reason why? Is because you like the excitement of like, oh shit, like your oh shit meter's like going off. You know what I mean? You're like, fuck, like what do I do? But
'cause a lot of the times I feel like you run on adrenaline. Like you are going from thing to thing, and you always do it with a smile on your face. Every time I see you, it's always, you're nice to everybody that you're around.
Thanks, man.
But you're also like you're taking care of everybody. I mean, that's one thing I think the show does well at highlighting is that you really do take care of your friends, and we see that throughout all of the seasons. But I find that interesting now. It's like, I think these things keep piling up on like, you're doing Schwartz and Sandy's, you're doing Tom Tom, you're doing the show. But like this band, how did that start? I mean, and by the way, I want to express to people like it's like a 9-piece band. The Hotel Cafe has so many memories for me. I used to spend so many nights there, and you shoved a 9-piece band, and we're not talking like just schlubs that like we're talking real musicians. There's a saxophonist, you guys, that looks amazing and he sounds amazing.
Colin Diaz.
I mean,
he is a fucking legend.
Yeah, I mean, and you guys, this was your first show. And you killed it. You did you guys. He did a 20-song set. He took a break, came back on, did a second set. Like, I mean, I've seen, and I know this is, this is hard to say, like, because I was a huge fan of Prince. Like, I saw him 6 or 7 times. Huge fan of Beyonce. Huge fan of people that actually just brought the party. That actually. It made you feel good. It made everybody feel welcome, and those people were like that. And I did feel that way with you guys. Like it was just so good, and it's also
wow. You comparing me to
like,
Beyonce and Prince? Come on,
I know.
man.
By the way, I know people are gonna give me shit, but like,
dude,
no,
come on.
But you can ask my roommate. I said the exact same thing. What possessed you to do this? Like, I mean, where does this even come into the... Like, that's what I asked him before we started. I was like, do you have, like, 30... Because he was showing me the things he's building. I'm like, do you have, like, 30 plans at all times? And then just which gets picked to be done,
It's tough, man. I go back and forth. It's my ADD. It kicks in a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
Because this is a big swing. I talk about big swings on the show. This is a big swing, and big swings are where like magic can happen. But this is a big one.
Well, this is the thing. Look, I do have a lot going on. I mean, at the end of this month, we're doing our Strix, my men's cosmetic line. It just got launched in Nordstrom in New York. So we're doing an event at the end of the month. We're doing a whiskey tasting, like with bringing on a project like this band. Obviously, I've been in bands in the past.
Pierce the Arrow.
We got
Charles McMansion. We've got,
I was in a band called In Victory before that.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. We've grown up watching you grow up on this show through your bands.
I love music. I love music. From the talent show, like playing trumpet, being a marching band, playing guitar, like I love it. Like even when I wasn't singing it, being just a part of a band, like creating music is so, I love it so much. And this year has been very stressful, with everything going on with the show and with, the opening up a new place. It's very stressful. And I wouldn't think about really bringing on something else. Well, I probably would. But, my friend Jason, he helps me with my YouTube stuff. And we're going to be doing, Schwartz and I are going to be doing this. So we're gonna be doing this thing called Chillin' Officially with the Toms, where we go around the different bars and like meet, like jump behind the bar, talk to people, like go through their cocktail menu, like hang out, make drinks, just chop it up.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be running that. But so Jason Bader, him and his wife Kimmy, who I met through Billy Lee, he's a drummer, and we were just hanging out having drinks one night, and he's like, man, I would love to do, because see, like when bands break up, like when I was in my bands, like when Pierce Hero broke up, like I like didn't pick up the guitar for like a year, like it just broke my heart. And then when Charles McMansion when that went south, R.I.P. Isaac, happy.
Yeah. Let's touch in public.
Yeah. I just, with all the time and effort that I put into those groups, and for it to just like kind of not go anywhere. Like not meaning like, oh, it's got to be successful, but like we recorded one song and one music video with Charles McMansion. With Pierce Hero, we never even like went into the studio and recorded.
Yeah.
So I'm saying like, and all this time, like 2 years was put into that band.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it was so frustrating to me.
Yeah.
And I was because I love music, like I can be in the studio for like 10 hours and just be totally loving it.
Yeah.
But, so when it came to music, I was like, Jason was like, dude, I would do a cover band. I would love to do a cover band. Like, and he's like, yeah, I would love to do it too. We were just drunk one night, and he's like, you got to meet my buddy Colin the saxophonist,
Yeah.
you talked about. He's like, he's such a cool, he's a music teacher. He plays like every instrument. Like he teaches underprivileged kids. Such a cool guy. Just like can transpose. He writes, he composes everything, and like gives sheet music to all the band members.
They're like, I don't know how to read this. Yeah.
well, I mean, the
I know,
guitarist.
it's amazing. That's what I'm saying. Like, but the balls to do, like, you guys did a 20 song set that actually I think went off pretty flawless. And I mean, on top of that, that was your first time performing. I just don't understand. Like,
we were a band for 3 months. So when putting this band together, I've had some issues in the past with, and I'm sure people can relate to this. Like somebody in the past, like I've been in bands. I don't want to mention any names, but people. It's a non-productive, sabotaging energy, and it breaks bands up all the time. That like negative energy, that like flexing energy, and I was like, if I do this band, I was talking to Jason. I was like, I want it done. I would do it, but I want it done right. And here's another thing, and this is something that I've learned in life with being on the show and just in general, and things that I've done that have been successful, that I've noticed in my life with being like things that have been successful, is that you have to, and I'm sure you know this, you have to love it. You have to love what the fuck you do, because if you don't, you're getting into an industry with a million people that actually do fucking love doing that.
Yes.
So good luck competing against that passion and that drive, because those guys, the other people that love what they're doing, they're going to hit a roadblock and they'll be like, who gives a shit? I'm going to bust right through that roadblock. You hit a roadblock and you don't love what you're doing, you're going to be like, was it even worth it anyways?
I'm not the biggest Dane Cook fan, but he said this one quote that blew me away. When I came out here, somebody might be funnier than me, but they will never outwork me. He goes, they will never outwork me. He's like, you do not know who you're dealing with. I will outwork anybody. And that has proven to always, be the difference.
Yeah, dude, I love that.
What are you looking to accomplish besides, I would imagine just having people have a good time, but as a performer, what are you looking to strengthen?
To get back to what you were saying earlier and what we were talking about, doing what you love, I decided, I'm going to do this right. And so we rented a space. We found like a really good studio. All my band members get paid.
Dude, you have a big band.
Yeah. They get paid. They get paid for their practice. They all get paid for their practices, performances. And dude, these guys are used to being in bands where they're just like, people are snapping their fingers at them. And like a lot of these guys are in other bands. Like our guitarist, our guitarist Kevin plays for the church that Justin Bieber goes to, that huge church.
Oh yeah.
I think Jax goes there too.
Oh,
Crossheart
for real?
emoji. I don't know. But it's a huge
religion, yeah.
it's a huge, of course, but it's a huge, serious band.
Yeah.
And he's their lead guitarist. This guy is insane. He's incredible. But like
Hillsong, is that it?
I think so.
Yeah.
So and then
So you got heavy hitters in this band with you.
big time. And they play in other bands are like told to wear all black and sit way in the back. And
you highlighted them.
Yeah, I dress pretty much all of them.
No, I'm talking about you highlighted their musical talents.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
even their look, which, by the way, you always have your own look.
Well,
You're
no.
known
I'm
for
like,
a
I'm
look,
like,
but
do you guys
highlighted their musical talent?
Yeah, no, thank you. I don't dress them like I'm not like you need to wear this. I'm like, do you want? Are you down? And they're like, hell yeah. I'm like, all right, you want like I got a 3-piece white suit for Colin because I was like, dude, I was like, what do you think about wearing a white? He's like, a white suit? He's like, fuck yeah. I was like, dude, let's go get you fitted for one.
Do you remember the first rehearsal with them? And did you walk in nervous, or did you walk in like,
Dude.
oh, I'm in charge, I'm good? Like, how long did it take you to get into your skin?
I still like, I mean, dude, you're around all these musicians, like most all of them are probably the best musician in their like any band that they go into, you know, like I'm always nervous. I'm like, even though it is my band and like I
feel like you're a born performer, though, so it's that one thing, like when you got up there on stage, and like, did you then prove to yourself, you're like, oh, yeah. I'm in the pocket.
Yeah. I mean,
Or did you wait? But that was the other. I had a question. Like, were you pleased with your performance and your band's performance? Were you like, damn it, I missed a transition right here, and it just kills me. You know?
No. I was, you know, from like one thing about performing music is if you're like 85%, you're nailing it. You're never gonna be 100. Like I think, didn't we start playing like Caribbean Queen before we started playing?
Yeah.
And then we
Which,
just
by the way, guys, Billy Ocean. I mean, that's why I was cracking up was that you were playing songs that I was like, fuck yeah, man, fuck yeah. Like I was like, I mean, you know, I was like, but I was like, and then you did Rosanna, and I was like, fuck. Like I was like, and then I was talking to Logan, our buddy, and he's like, before Tom, I didn't know any of these songs. And he goes, now I love them. You know,
I love that.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like it's like a DJ set where you're like,
that's exactly the reaction I want. Like, that's exactly the reaction, because I don't want to do, you know, like we wanted to do a Weezer song, but like even at our rehearsal space, I hear 2 other bands doing Say It Ain't So. So I'm like, I'm not fucking doing Say It Ain't So.
Yeah.
Just like I hear every yacht rock band does Africa. So like I'm not gonna do Africa. We're gonna do Rosanna. We're gonna do Sweater, you know, Undone by Weezer.
I mean, you even did a Death Cab song, which I don't want to give away the whole set list, but it was a Death Cab song that I even believe was in Vanderpump Rules at one point.
Oh my God, you remember that?
Yeah.
The Vegas strip?
Yeah.
Holy shit! You know they.
Well, we just rewatched the whole thing. Yeah.
Wait, did they pull it out though?
They pulled it out in the no because
it's still in there.
Because my roommate said, yeah, they'd use the Death Cab song, and she's never seen the show before.
That is
but I was
honestly.
like, why did they? I was like, that's wild, because Vanderpump Rules always makes up songs of like getting in the funk.
Oh my God, my favorite was a couple seasons ago when like Schwartz and Katie, or like 3 seasons ago when they went and got like a prenup, and like there was a song that was like "They'll last forever" as they're going into the like lawyer door. Then it's like, then it's like they're like hanging out, like it's like they're hanging out with their girlfriends. It's like Stassi, Katie, and it's like popping bottles with my girls in my name. It's like,
I know we're jumping
God.
around, but it's like, do you guys ever watch the edit of this show and go like, are you fucking kidding me? They put that song in? Like,
there was
like,
that year. Year in particular, it was like really. I was like, are they trying to be really like ironic? Are they trying to be funny? Like, because that was a particularly like.
I mean, you have to notice now is that they started this about 3 seasons ago, where they were like hard trolling the cast, where the editors are so good. The editors are so good, but Sheena would say something, and then you have 4 examples of Sheena saying the same thing throughout the seasons.
Yeah.
And it was like a hard troll.
Yes.
And to the
Sheena
audience,
got trolled like no other.
Oh man, they brutalized her. Like, but to the audience, I don't know, it's just so weird. And like, what is the crossover of doing what you do on reality TV to music? Do you find anything because we're supposedly watching a reality show of your real life, but is there a performance element are you quote unquote bringing it when the cameras are on?
Yes, but no. Do you know what I mean? Like, they like outlawed weed on our show because people like certain people were
Wait,
like
DJ James Kennedy says he smokes it all the time. What do you mean?
He's different.
Okay.
Like, but there were people that would be like in the scene puffing on a fucking wheat vape while in a scene, and it was like all of a sudden there'd be like that Tolly moment with like, wait, I'll tell you right where it is, and it's like,
From South Park,
okay,
yeah.
Tolly, where is it? Where's what? It's just like that, people be in a scene, like we'd be filming, not in a scene, but we would be somewhere filming, talking about real shit. You know, I'd be like, Ryan, I need to talk to you about like you fucked me over here. Like you did this, you know, we got to talk about it. And I'm pissed off and it really hurt my feelings. And you'd be like, wait, what, dude?
Hey man, I cannot do this right now.
Dude, like,
really...
wait. Sorry, start over. Well, so, okay. Wait. Yeah, I remember. I know what you're talking about. So like that like when you mean like when you say bring it, yes, we have to bring it in that sense of like we can't be like sitting back talking about, you know, what we're watching on Hulu or Netflix or whatever. You know what I mean? Like we got to talk about the difficult shit. The one conversation you don't want to have with the one person you don't want to have it with.
Well, I mean, by the way, you know, one of the most iconic ones, which you could tell you and Schwartz did not want to have anything to do with, was that season opener at the club with Faith and Jax and all that stuff. And you could just tell. You could tell that it was like, oh, I do not want to say this. I do not want to say this. I don't know if that's the reality of that situation.
That is.
But it read like
it's nauseous.
Somebody was like,
you feel like you're gonna fucking
go do this, and like, oh no. You know.
See, you kind of you know. I always say this is kind of like a joke, but not really. You like know you're doing your job when you feel sick, physically sick, telling somebody something.
That's what I'm saying. I always think of that scene in Return of the Jedi where Luke has to go face Darth Vader for like and he knows he's his father, and he's like, and in my head I was like, Luke doesn't need to do that. He's gonna die. Luke, just take off. He's got a spaceship. Go the fucking farthest direction ever.
Yes.
But it's like he has to do it, and I always feel like you guys are forced to do something like crazy. Like I'll bury anger for like 30 years. You have to like face it right then and there. But the other person you're saying it to has to realize it's the show. It's not you. It's the show. Like
and there's a difference between you know, me knowing like intimate information or things about you and deciding to bring it up and pretending like I care about it, but really just using it as like as something interesting to say in a conversation, or me being like, listen, this is coming out and it's happening. I'm bringing it up because this is like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you had this like weird thing where like you like beat off to like troll dolls.
You know what?
And
the fact that you know that about me is just wild.
Okay.
That's so
I'm sorry.
Wow, you really are good at your job. That's amazing. Who told you that? Yeah.
I mean, well, we both do. You know?
I mean, it's a cool. You guys don't live in Los Angeles.
You don't live in LA. You don't know.
Yeah, it's hard.
You don't know. But yeah, like if I'm just saying something like random like that, where I'm just like we all know somebody who's done that on our show in the past. Well, anyway, I don't want to.
No, I mean everybody. But see, that's the funny thing is like this show, and like for a lot of people, is imprinted on people's memories. Like for whatever. I mean, I used to joke about like one of you guys or you guys calling yourselves the Friends Cast, but then in a way, it's not too far. I mean, it's not the like there's a huge hype around this show always, but I kind of do agree. Like you think about the Friends episodes when you saw it, and like, but I can tell you exactly where I was when I saw you tackle Jax. I can tell you exactly where I mean, these things do burn in your memory. Like I even rewatching it, I kept having to like go, I needed to do work, but I was like, no. This is where Jack says he's the number one guy. I gotta see it. Like, I gotta see it. And like your serious face there, where you're just like, those things are burned in our memories. Everybody, and like, you seem like you take that you don't take that lightly. You take it seriously. People. Like when I see you at Tom Tom or like that, you want to show people a good time. You're nice to everybody, which is always huge to me.
Thanks, man. No, I feel like that's important. Like, I feel like it's important. People come in from all over, sometimes like we've had people there from Saudi Arabia, like, and it's just, I don't go into Tom Tom if I'm like not in the mood.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and thank you for saying that. And I that is important to me. It is important that like when people run into you and they're excited and they're happy, like, you should add to that. You know what I mean? Like, and I love doing that.
I mean, you like people. It is kind of. I've seen that when you and Schwartz will enter and like it lights up the thing and everybody. It's really kind of amazing. I mean, Schwartz took a really hammered photo with my mom once, and like hammered, and it was like, but he was still so flippin' nice to do. Like he was. It really made my mom's trip, and I've seen you guys do that again and again to everybody, and I just think that's so cool because some people in your cast don't do that, some people do that, but it also, I feel like you guys have an appreciation because you saw what it was like in LA without this job. You saw what it was like struggling without this.
Again, too, like, that is also, Schwartz and I, there is a certain point where you're like, I've had enough of Tom Tom. I've been here for 2 hours and I got to get out of here. But like when we go in there and we're hanging out and running around and like whatever, like I don't go sit in the corner and put a hat down and like our hoodie. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I'm very, I usually wear something kind of loud. Like I put together, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I go in there and I enjoy it, and you, like, again, this goes back to like, you got to love what you're doing. Otherwise you're just going to be fucking miserable. Like, that's why we're opening up another bar. Like this is the things that I want to do. I want to be like, I like that. I like making drinks for people. I can't wait to like make drinks for people at our new spot. Like I love playing
Sandy's, by the way.
Schwartz and Sandy's.
That seems to be did you think you were going to start that much conversation about a name? And by the way, I do want to point out,
no,
everybody's talking about the name.
Exactly.
I do want to point that out, is that like always, it's like Andy Cohen at the New Year's Eve thing. Everybody was talking. Guys, guess what? We're all talking about it. We're all talking about this name. But also I want to point out to people, Tom Tom was a silly name in a lot of people's books.
Yeah.
Like in the beginning, like I remember Lisa at Schwartz was like, it's going to be called Tom Tom.
When Schwartz and I hang out together, I don't call him Tom. I don't call, like, he doesn't call me Tom.
Yeah,
I call him Schwartz. He calls
that,
me Sandy. Like, that's what we call each other. When people come to Schwartz and Sandy's, we want to feel like you're really getting to know us. You want to feel like you're coming over to our house. Like, Schwartz and Sandy's sounds like, oh, yeah, you're going over to they're the gay couple or whatever. Like, or it's Schwartz and Sandy's. It's like the clubhouse. It's, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, it's our house. It's like our like, you're really, and when you go into this place, like, you really are going to get a lot of our personality. Like, a lot. It's
well, we've gotten so many ideas about this place, yet I still don't really understand what it's going to be, because they've made it like an ongoing bit about, we're going to do this here, we're going to do this here.
Also, the funny thing is like, dude, all these people asking about like a name and like the name, it's like, dude, when all that shit was happening, I'm like, are you guys fucking kidding me right now? You guys are putting the cart before the horse.
It is funny that the show now, like, we're now getting into refi plots, like refinance. Like, I mean, it is interesting. We're watching you guys grow up, quote unquote. Like, that is the fascinating thing. And that's what I think one of the beauties of the show is you get to watch people grow up, and some people don't grow up and some people do. And you get to watch that entirety of that. But it's funny now, like, people have houses, and I was watching you guys, like, I was watching the episodes the other day when Jax was helping you take out the couch that all that crap happened on, and I was just like, this is insane. But at the same time, I was like, damn it, I would have put that in my reality show museum. That is a historical couch.
Shit.
Like, the fact that you didn't save that, and I know that sounds silly, but like, like,
I think about these things, and I
jokes
actually
and bits happen. Like, like, the couch has seen major plot lines.
I gave that couch to Isaac Cappy, and that couch was so comfortable. I don't know what ended up happening to it, but probably got given away at some point. That couch was amazing. It was the most comfortable couch.
We do a documentary tracking that couch down of like just going from person to person of like, okay, I know it went here, but like that's what I think about your show though. Like I have these little pieces of memorabilia. Like I have the first like the that night you guys first opened Tom Tom to like Daily Mail and all that stuff. I had like a paper menu that was.
Dude, I gotta get you a real piece of memorabilia.
Well, I mean, I have Jax's wedding invitation. Somebody passed me one of those. That's pretty good.
I bet I could do better than that.
Yeah, no, but by the way, if it's possible before we leave, you do have the chunky sweater here. I would love to. And by the way, I'm just saying I would never return the samurai sword. I'm just saying that I would treasure the samurai Randy Jackson.
You have no
samurai
idea.
sword.
That was like 4 years in the making.
Dude, it cracks me. I mean, I've talked about it on the show, you guys, but most recently we finally got a return of a certain somebody, and they it's just such that's.
I'm like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? You know, I got him a pair of fucking Air Mag Back to the Future 2 shoes.
And
they weren't the real ones. They weren't, and he loves like that nostalgic stuff. They weren't the real Air Mags because you couldn't get them. So I got the ones that were like the knockoffs from China or whatever. And then I hired somebody because the knockoff Air Mags, they don't have the Nike symbol on it that glows, and they don't have the Nike that glows on the tongue.
Yeah,
I hired somebody
movie
to actually make it to where it does, to actually build that and put it in the shoe. And Jax gave it away. Like,
just as a nerd, this is what I don't get, is that I don't get, what are we not seeing? Why is it, like, are you guys, like, what are we not seeing? Why is he this fucking stubborn with you in particular? And then I have to see, like, Schwartz and all these people partying it, like, and I'm like, and I hate to say this, but I choose sides in shows. I choose sides. Like and I don't like when my side is all, I don't know, I feel like, I hate to say this, he's gotten by on rewriting history and now being able to get angry, but he was the one that did most of these things on the show. Did we miss an episode where you guys, like where you killed somebody in his family? Did we miss an episode?
Yeah, I drowned his twin brother.
No, but that's what I'm saying. We must have missed something because I don't get why he's like, I don't even get, because even at the Kentucky Castle, you had a fucking thing with water and you were like, I mean, I don't know if it's an act or not, but you had
No.
Like,
it wasn't. It's
I don't
like
get it.
That's the thing.
I don't get it.
I always see like these situations, and I'm like, you know what? It's cool, but it could be a little bit better if it was this. And I'll like do it.
Yeah.
Just cause. Like that's the same. It's the same thing with the band. You know what I mean? Like, yes, we could be a 5-person cover band, but like, come on, a brass section. You know what I mean?
How much
like,
cooler would that be? Yeah.
Yeah, like that's kind of like how it's.
I mean, that's the band's name, The Most Extras, right?
Yeah, it's about like I am extra in general because it's fun to express
and you
yourself.
lean into that. You're not ashamed of it.
Yeah, I'm not ashamed
That's
of
a
it.
superpower,
Yeah, and I also like encourage other people, like when they want to be extra, just fucking do it. You know what I mean? But that's just me doing that. Like me being like getting carried away. Like I get carried away. That's like the story of my life. I start like I go paintballing once and then I get carried away and like now I'm like I look like RoboCop. Same thing with snowboarding. Like
I mean, you have lightsabers. You have like I remember seeing you dressed up in like Jedi gear with Logan. And well, this is a silly question, and I want to get back to Jackson in a second. But it was a silly question. I'm like, where did you keep all your shit in your apartment? Because it seemed like you
storage
had something.
unit.
I knew it. I said that. He goes, he must have had a store. Because I'm like,
oh, fuck
where's he
yeah.
even just keeping his, like, he has clothes for everything. He can't keep it in that apartment.
I think I had, in West Hollywood, I had 2 storage units. 2 storage units.
That's Kardashian level. I mean, that is why. Hey, Ariana, can you just scream, hey?
Hey!
That's Ariana Maddox. She literally is right over there.
Dumpling.
She's,
It's
yes.
the actress who plays Ariana Maddox on Vanderpump.
Oh my gosh, she's so good.
Yeah, she plays. I still think Ariana, like, if Broadway ever opens up, she should be one of those people that like stunt casting, but good. Like,
Yeah.
like why can't you do that?
I love
I'm
that.
talking to you, Ariana. Okay. Yes, I was saying I've told you this before, but like, like you should do Broadway because they always do the stunt casting, but
I
you
wanna do it so
you can
bad.
actually sing. Like if Broadway ever reopens.
Actually,
Okay.
That's gonna freak you out and blow your mind. It's amazing, but yes.
Is it about what we were talking about the other night?
Whoever listens to your podcast.
Is it about what we were talking about the other night?
Tom, don't tell my story.
I won't.
Okay. Yes, it is.
Okay, cool.
Okay, here we go. We just took a break, and we are back. Tom has been nice enough to still spend time with us.
Oh, come on.
No, it really is.
It's a pleasure.
We left off. I want to tell the audience, I've had my most awkward interactions in life, I think, with Tom Sandoval, and he doesn't even know it. I've told a lot of these stories on the pod, but I want to remind people because Tom doesn't even realize. So I really genuinely like the character of Tom Sandoval and the real person Tom Sandoval, and it's just somebody I really look up to you. And I'm probably
thanks,
older than you,
man.
but I really love the passion and the drive. So the first time you guys was at Tom Sandoval's birthday party at where you were raising money for a education center. Jackson's credit card didn't go through.
Oh
It was at
yeah,
the top
Project
floor.
Elevate for
Yeah.
for the school in Haiti,
Yeah,
Richardson
top floor.
and Lou.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
came with Molly McAleer, and it was the
Yeah.
first. And I didn't realize it was filming. I thought it was your actual birthday party.
Well, it was.
Well, but I didn't realize it was being filmed, so immediately I got hit with an NDA or whatever you sign, and I'm like, and my body turned to sweat. Like my body turned, and Meredith was there, and I knew Meredith, and so all of a sudden, like, and Molly's cracking up at me, introducing me to people, and I'm just like dripping, like, and I had to go into the bathroom, towel down, because it's really weird to watch people on TV and then see them in person, and you guys were all really nice, and then I finally went over and hid by the bar. There's video of me doing a shot with Stassi that night, and all of a sudden
Whoa,
I'm seeing,
hell yeah.
but I'm seeing the inner, like I'm seeing Jax be Jax, and I'm seeing you, and there's a picture of me, you, Molly, and Ariana, where I'm bent down so hard because I was sweating so badly that I didn't want you to touch my back. And so I'm like kneeling in the photo almost, and you guys are standing because I just went. And that was one awkward time. The other awkward time was that I was at Logan's birthday party at Sir one time, Billy Lee, all these people, and it was before Tom Tom opened, but we knew about Tom Tom. And you came, you got me a drink, we was like, hey, you remembered me. And then you said, then I said, I didn't know what to say to you. So I said, hey, how's Tom Tom going? You're like, great. And I go, I go, I'm going to spend all my weekend money there. And I was like, what the fuck is weekend money? Like, I don't have weekend money. Like,
Did I say that?
no, I said that to you. I said, I'm going to spend my weekend money at Tom Tom. What the fuck is weekend money? I don't have weekend money. And then I was like, this is the only thing I could think to say to you was that I'm going to spend my weekend money at Tom Tom. You're like, hey, thanks, buddy. Thanks. And then I was at another random bar. And
I
you
didn't
guys,
say buddy. I know that.
you guys walked in and you recognized me again. And, you know, you were getting a drink and you talked about how you sliced your hand filming the opening of Vanderpump Rules because you did a champagne opening.
Oh
and you
yeah,
would
yeah,
slice
yeah.
your hand.
Oh yeah, that was 8 stitches.
Yeah, and I was like, holy shit. Like Tom just told, you just told this story out of nowhere. And I was like,
They wanted me to do when I knocked the when I sabered the bottle of champagne. I told production, I was like, they're like, hey, can you saber a bottle of champagne? I was like, yes, I can do that. And they're like, great, we want you to do that for the opening, but can you send a quick like iPhone video with the producers right now? It was right before we went to we drove all the way to Marina Del Rey for Tashina's house.
yes.
That whole thing,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And when I was driving, I had my hand wrapped up because I sabered a bottle of champagne. They like had a bottle of champagne there, and I sabered it, and I went to set it down, and as it was falling, it slipped out of my hands because of the condensation. I went to grab it, and as I went to grab it, it touched the ground, and that like it was like a like a sideways like a diagonal oval of glass. Sharp glass. It stabbed into my hand. I had to get 8 stitches.
But see, to me, I heard that story and I was like, fucking Tom Sandoval does it again. He's like fucking doing the slicing thing. He's like taught himself how to slice a champagne bottle. And my buddy was with me and I was like, man, that guy, I was like, that dude's a star, man. Like I was like, and by the way, it's unironic because I go so hard on Jax on the show because he doesn't know, he's my nemesis. Like, and because I think, and I don't want you to say anything, but like to me, there is good and bad in this world. And I don't mean he's bad, but it's frustrating when I've seen, so many chances. I just don't like how he talks shit to you. And I take it really personally. I didn't like what he said to Ariana a couple times. I take that personally, but is there in your heart and all that, is there a thing of like, man, I hope one day we can all be cool? Do you still have that at all?
Actually,
And you don't
not.
have to answer it, but I'm just like, it is something.
No,
I
no,
always
no, no,
wonder.
no. Not that long ago, we were at Kristen's house, and she sold her house.
Kristen Doty.
Doty, yes. And she had a party like before she sold her house, and we went by there. Jax was there, and it was a little awkward. And I was like, dude, I don't want it to be awkward. Like, I don't want it to be like that way, because it takes a lot of energy to be that way, and it doesn't need to be that way anyways. And so I just went up to him, started talking to him, was like, hey, I was like, Dad, Daddy-o, and like he didn't get it, but it's a Back to the Future reference.
Yeah. First movie, yeah. Crispin Glover.
Yes. And just talking to him, I gave him a hug. We were like all like, we were cool. And I had something going on that next morning, so I couldn't stay super late and get like crazy. But yeah, we like hung out, we talked, and it was great. Yeah. And look, we're not going to be where we were. Like, we're at different places in our lives, and obviously he's busy, I'm busy, but we're at that point where we can, where I think we could be cordial and be, hang out and
Do you miss him not being a part of the show? I mean, do you miss Stassi not being a part? Do you miss those guys in regards to that, or are you of the mind of like, we're good on our own, we're good? Because I think the misconception is, it would be even better if they were there, and I'm like, no. Like, you got to realize, I watched a whole season without Stassi that was amazing. Like, that was like a killer season with DJ James Kennedy and Kristen and all of this stuff. Like, I think. Not one person, not two. Like, the show is the show, and it doesn't matter who's there sometimes.
I can tell you that it got to a point. It started to get to a point. I think it was our last season that everybody was in there, 2019, season 8, where it just, even like production was saying certain things, if one person said, like, you're wearing a, like almost like a light gray mixed with black cardigan. And, if somebody said that is a yellow shirt, that you would be like, oh, that's actually, no, it's not. And you just disagreeing with that would cause everybody to sort of gang up on you. It got to the point where somebody would be doing something so obviously fucked up, and nobody would say anything about it because they were afraid to deal with the wrath of like the mob gang mentality. And it was really actually like hurting our show. And, as much as I do miss, like, obviously having more cast members and having like, those interactions, and obviously we have history together, I don't miss that like mob gang mentality of like having a disagreement with one person and then having like 7 other people like gang up on you because you disagreed with somebody about something.
How sick do you get before reunions?
Oh my God, it's just like, I mean, that's a whole nother story. But
when you're in it, I'm sure it's like, okay, at least I'm in it. But I don't think I could handle that kind of pressure of going into something knowing that everything is going to be talked about that you've already thought about.
Yes, I mean, you relive things. When it happens. When we're filming the show and real life happens and we have these situations that go down. There's that moment, and then there's when you're talking about it. When we're doing our interviews, our confessionals, and we're sitting in the chair, and then it's like the show comes out and then it's airing again. It's like you relive these experiences numerous times, which sucks, but also can be really cool when it's the fun experiences. But
I mean, were you blown away those first couple of seasons, though, seeing how it landed on people?
I could tell you.
Holy shit, like, this is landing on people. Because as an actor, like, I used to work at a place called Leslie Kahn that you took acting classes.
No. Ariana did.
Ariana did, but also Schwartz did.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Schwartz
yeah.
was in our system. Like everybody, like I think Dodie was there for a second.
Wow.
Sheena was there when she did the Jonas Brothers music video. And it's just a different thing of like scrapping around, like we talked earlier, trying to make it as an artist, an actor, a musician. And then you have this thing you would never... Like, you got to hear about this show. How was the show presented to you? We know we've seen that thing of, like, they made this poster of, like, this guy's dating this girl and this girl.
Oh, yeah. That
like,
was...
when the show is pitched to you, you're already working at SUR. Are you like, why not? Are you like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't think that's cool.
At that
what's
point
your
in
vibe?
time, I had, like, 10 acting credits, and I was really trying to push that. At that point in time, in like 2011,
Yeah.
we, at that point you still were under the idea that once you do reality TV, you can't do anything else. That's your like last stop. That's your, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
not like you can't do anything else, but you can't be taken seriously as an actor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your shot of being Leonardo DiCaprio is out the window.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I had some reluctance because I was very serious about acting back then. But I said, you know what? If I can do and show people, I was inspired by when I did that Bon Jovi video and everybody saw that, it was all over the place, those videos or whatever. People were like, Tom,
Tom's
I
doing
guess
it.
Tom Sandoval made it. And it's like,
yeah, because you're from St. Louis. I'm from Kansas. And like, people are like, oh, you were on The Office. Holy shit. Like,
Yeah.
it's like they think that you did it.
you've made it.
Yeah.
You are literally a multimillionaire living in a giant house
like,
in the hills.
Wow. Yeah.
You have an Alfred or a
Yeah.
and it's just not true. And I was inspired by the idea of showing people what it's kind of really like. That really drew me into it, and that made me decide to like. I was the last person to sign my contract when we started filming.
So Dodie had already signed and you didn't.
Yeah,
But you were dating her at the time and you said, nah, I don't want to do that.
yeah, I was like, as far as a main cast member, I was like, I don't know, I shouldn't do this, like, and I was like, you know what? I think it's inspiring to be honest and tell people, what it's really like out here.
Yeah.
Like
you
you
feel
could
you
do a huge, you can be on, Loma Vogue or a billboard for Rock and Republic or these music videos or a movie and still be like, busting tables and trying to figure out how the fuck you're gonna pay rent.
Yeah.
Like that's the way it is.
Yeah. That's what I say. Like, this is a, I talked to one of my buddies who's a director now and a really successful one. And he said, it's, you're dealing in people's dreams out here. And that's why it's an intense town, because everybody has a dream and most dreams don't come true for people out here.
Yeah.
And so the people that the dreams do come true for, like, it keeps everybody going because you see that guy's dreams coming true. I want a little bit of that, but and I know it's a lottery. Like the fact that
It is.
you got a job at that
Extremely.
bar, you dated that person. Like, think about like
I
no matter what.
go
but, like,
through
what
it
the
in my
fuck?
mind, like if this wouldn't have happened and this wouldn't happen, the domino effect that it took to like get to the point to where I'm at today, or like to land Vanderpump Rules. To land Vanderpump Rules, like it's like you're landing a rule.
But by the way, you looking back,
it could have been a
huge
flop.
role,
It
like,
could have been. It could have been a nothing. It could have been.
I was livid.
Sunset Tan. It could have been a. You know what I
They
mean?
attached your episode to Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I had watched that show and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" I was livid. I was like,
Really?
Well, because I liked my Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I didn't want to watch.
Oh,
a bunch
okay.
Of, I didn't
I
want
was
to watch. But I'm saying I didn't want to watch a bunch of like people that were doing better than me, getting wasted and hooking up, and then I finally did watch it, and I got so sucked in.
That shit had never been done before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that. When have you ever seen that on a reality show? I was so impressed. The way that like the way that they I mean, obviously every season is different and we have evolved, and it's also been a bit of, Housewives, they kind of stay in the same realm that they are in. There hasn't really been a show on Bravo where you've really seen like Boys to Men, or
No,
you know what I mean? Like,
well, see,
like
that show, that's what I'm saying. It actually proved that Bravo could do something else than Housewives. It
Yeah.
actually showed that, like, okay, we have a younger demographic. There's a sexier aspect to this. And the thing was, like,
I like Boys to Men. That's why I use that reference.
You guys were cheating and lying but stealing, but not in the way that housewives steal now, where you're like orphans and widows and lawsuits and all this stuff. You're stealing sunglasses. You're stealing like it's shit we've all done it. Like,
Yeah.
I was watching this week and you guys were partying in, like, I remember going into shitty apartments. I remember drinking shitty vodka in shitty apartments and getting hammered with my friends in Hollywood. I remember and I was seeing then, and then I was almost saying that I was thinking this today. I was like, dude, next season, I wanna make them go back to their old apartments and make them, like, just for the season, and make them do a flashback episode of just being in that situation.
Wait a minute. I got something for you.
Yeah.
You know that I still have that apartment.
What?
Yes.
Who lives in it?
Jeremy.
No way! Jeremy Maddox lives in the apartment. That's amazing. Is it haunted? Does he hear voices at night?
No. He hears like.
Does he hear the movie Drive?
He
playing
does.
in the
He does hear Drive sometimes. He'll hear like a. He'll hear like the microwave door slamming at times. Like, yeah,
dude.
No. We should go there. We should go there.
That's what I'm saying.
Because he's not going to be there very much longer, and then we're going to lose that place for good.
You know what? We should do a YouTube video on your thing where I'm a host and I'm just reacting to.
I would love to. I'll
wanted
do
be-
a video tour with you.
Yes, that would be. But I want to do, like, maybe on the next tour, but like travel around like the Grateful Dead, and I go from show to show and meet people and stuff in the parking lot and all that. Like, kind of. I mean, it's silly, but at the same time, see how it, like, they played Freedom this set, but earlier I got a cassette. He went up high on the third verse, and it was like so sweet, man. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to bring up too is that we saw you and everybody on the show, not just you, get so fucking brutalized by life, by cheating, by all of this stuff. How long did it take you to accept watching people go through your lowest moments on TV, that we all could watch things happen to you? Like, like,
What do you mean, like me watching other?
No, like when it actually did come out about Jackson Kristen, like, we had to watch you deal with that. We had to watch you handle that. Did you ever be like, fuck, man, everybody has to see this shit? Like, everybody has to see me go through this.
Well, when that happened, I honestly thought,
Good.
no. When that actually was happening, I was so in disbelief that I thought I was like, oh, okay, so I guess we're doing a fake show. Okay, so Jack slept with Kristen. Okay, yeah, okay, guys. I think I'm just gonna leave. Like, I literally was so in disbelief. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Because it's wild. Because you never would believe it in
it was
1,000
such
years.
a left hook.
And everybody kept to their story, so it was like so. But that's what's crazy about your story, is that, like, the show, I mean, is that these huge things happened. Like, I've had betrayal in friend groups and all that, but you guys took it to another level.
Dude,
like,
I would like, I don't know.
I mean, I was watching you I was watching you go after DJ James Kennedy in an earlier season, and now to see you guys
That was
this season where you're
insane.
so supportive of him, where you helped him put on Richella, which, by the way, I do want to say there needs to be a second annual, even if it didn't work out. I want Richella to live on year after year. I want to make shirts for Richella.
Listen, man.
Like you really
Don't be
those
fucking planting these seeds, bro.
Because those polo fields mean so much to
They
me
mean
personally. I've
so
been
much to
13
me,
Coachellas, and the fact that was on the
Wow, you got me
actual
beat.
field.
Dude, it was emotional
Were
for
you
me.
there the year Prince played?
What?
Were you there the year Prince played?
I was. That
Dude,
was my first
wasn't it-
Coachella.
it
I
was
snuck in that year.
It was amazing. Like,
Unbelievable.
It was like, and he played hits. He didn't like.
Dude,
just do
the
new
way he
stuff.
was like, I had never. First of all, I knew Prince from like When Doves Cry and like obviously Purple Rain and these songs, but like I didn't know that he was like such a virtuoso. I didn't
guitar,
know
like, he
on the
could pick
guitar.
up-
I didn't know that. So like when I saw him at Coachella that year, what was it, 2008?
Yeah. It was, yeah.
I have a T-shirt from there.
Yeah, I mean, like that was
show it to you.
because Portishead opened.
Portishead,
up, yeah,
yes!
Portishead opened up, and then the thing was,
It was the first time I saw MIA.
yes, and she fought like she
Wow.
went crazy. Like the tent was like so. I mean,
The tent was electric.
I mean, people were
Dude,
crawling
I
on.
had heard of Coachella at that point. I'd heard of Coachella. I was doing a modeling job at in Palm Springs for Modern Amusement through Photogenics, and me and this guy, my friend at the time, Quest, who modeled with them, like we went to this, and he's like, "Dude, let's go to the festival." And I was like, "Okay, okay." And so we went there, and like, dude, I just remember seeing the like spotlights going like into like
Yeah.
to the
There's-
mothership.
You guys, there's like spotlights always in the sky at night,
and they
so you
point
just-
up to like oblivion. It makes the festival seem like it's never. It looks like you're in a stadium
magical.
that's
Prince-
100 stories tall.
I don't know if you remember this. Prince said near the end of the concert, he said, "You're at the coolest place on earth right now." And I was like, thought about it. I was like, in reality, that's true. Probably right now, at Prince playing at Coachella, I literally
Early
for this
Coachella.
moment am in the coolest place that you could ever be in this
Before
moment.
Instagram, before it's like a
Yes, it was
commercial
so great.
thing.
Nobody was posting pictures of Prince and all this stuff.
No!
Like, it was just people out there living their lives, having a great time. You
Oh
know?
my god, it was unbelievable. The way he was playing was just like, oh, it's just sexy. It was like he would like do like a slide down the guitar, and he'd look over,
Yeah,
and
he
just, like,
didn't
wink
even
at
think-
somebody.
And he played Creep because like Radiohead at that point had like ruled Coachella, and he was like, "You tell them it's my house now." And I was just like, "Holy shit!" Like I had seen Prince like 4 times at that point, and this
That was my
the
first.
best. I mean, I could geek out. I mean, you're obviously a huge music fan, and I could geek out forever. But basically, I think we got on talking about like you being hurt in front of people. Did that take an adjustment of like, don't hurt me? Like, I mean, like I'm getting fucking brutalized on national television.
It was that moment was just so crazy. It was like you're in disbelief. You are just trying to sort of process the whole situation. I mean, I'll tell you in life, when you get put in those positions, it's very important to establish yourself. I'm sure why I had to like punch. I don't condone like violence or whatever, but like, dude, when somebody is like Rick James and you like habitual line stepping, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they're like in your face, you gotta fucking.
Yeah.
Dude, if I did that to you and you didn't fucking punch me, like you would have to do that.
I mean, I made my dad watch because my dad's been on the show, and like I'll make my parents watch reality shows that they'll never watch in their lives, and I made them watch that episode, and my dad was like, "This guy Jax really exists? Like that's a real guy?" That's a real guy. He's like, he did that. And it was the scene where he's at the beach and you guys are talking and he's like,
I still was in disbelief
he's
at
like,
that
yeah,
point.
man, it happened. And I'm like, and my dad's like, what? He's not even like in a pause. He's just acting like it's like, yeah, it happened. Like, and then I made him watch the wedding episode. He's like, Jax got married? Jax got married? He's like, our guy Jax got married? The guy from the, and I'm like, yeah, man, he got married. And he was cracking up, and I finally got to take, because they have your Fancy AF Cocktails book with you and
that's
Ariana
awesome.
and Danny, and they make drinks every time I'm there, and they're really cute. But my dad finally got to experience Tom Tom when it finally opened up, and everybody was vaccinated, and he had the time of his life. He got wasted.
Oh, I love that.
I mean, it really is. That's what I'm saying. You guys bring with your show that causes so much pain for you guys. It does cause so many good moments for everybody else. The other thing is you provided the best comedic moment, which is probably one of the moments you might not be proud of now, was this beautiful moment with you and Ariana, like just beautiful. You're like, I'm always here. I'm always here. Like you're always here. And she's looking at you, just loving her eyes. And it's this beautiful moment. We're all like, and you're like, but I really want to go to Vegas. There's like this, they smash things with these trucks and and you see Ariana's face of like, what? Like, do you watch that back and go, holy, because it was this beautiful moment on top of the craziest, funniest moment ever, but it was played so real. It is real.
Yeah. Well, the thing is,
You were such a dude. Like, they're going to smash things with cars, and I got to be there.
well, also on the other side of things too, it's like, I was being honest in that situation. Her birthday was that day, and I helped throw like a great
No,
big
she
kids
said
party.
it was the best. We had heard her this whole speech. This is the best day I've ever had.
Yeah.
Amazing. You had like circus
I
performers.
flew like
and-
I helped bring one of her friends in from New York, and Lindsay, and then her other friend I surprised her with. And the reason why I actually went is because it's like we're filming. You know what I mean? Like we're gonna film that trip in Vegas is getting filmed. Nothing is getting filmed back here. Oh, Maya's right.
I got so scared. I was like, is that a ghost?
Maya. Oh, she loves
Yeah,
to come
dog.
behind. Maya, she's our 2020 rescue. She's so amazing. It was getting filmed, so of course I'm gonna go.
But you can't say in that moment, it's getting filmed. I have to.
Yeah, I'm not gonna not film.
Well, and you ended up getting a tattoo on your ass, so it all in the
God,
end.
such a great idea. Let me tell you.
No, but these are things that are iconic. I mean, that's what I'm saying. That cracks me up. Your real life.
I'm
have
so
provided such
particular about
joyous-
things too, and I did that. Like that was. I told myself I would never get a tattoo because I can't commit to a style for the rest of my life, like a style choice for the rest of my life. And what did I do? I made a choice, a permanent choice that I hate now. Well, I love it though. I love that I hate it now.
Is there any way you could cut that off and could put it in my reality show museum? I'd love a piece of Tom Sandoval's ass with the A on it. You say style, and style is a huge part of Tom Sandoval. We see season after season, the first couple of seasons, but then you started playing with your look. Each season was longer hair, a different this. You started playing with your colors, and even but this is not fake. It's real life, you guys. I was at a party of our friend's Janet's birthday. You came in like a half cut off sweater and your nails are painted now, and I'm like, this dude changes style every year, but it's your personal style. Can you speak to style and the style of your band?
I consider myself a bit of a chameleon. I one person that I really look up to for style is Samuel L. Jackson. You see that guy in movies, everything from Formula 51 to Looper to
I did
Pulp
not expect
Fiction.
you to say Samuel L. Jackson.
That guy, he's fucking Samuel L. Jackson, and he's Samuel L. Jackson the shit out of a role, and it's great. I want to see it, but he also he comes in always with these strong style looks. Brad Pitt does the same thing. I love that
Brad Pitt in True Romance. He's
Yeah.
a stoner, and then Brad Pitt for a while, 12 Monkeys. He changed.
what about
his look.
Gary Oldman in that movie?
Oh God, Gary Oldman. I remember being in junior high and wanting to be an actor and going, that's Gary Oldman. That dude is playing a pimp that has oh, maybe you do, maybe you don't. And he has
Yeah.
a glass eye and he has
Yeah.
dreads. It's
Oh, it's White Boy Day.
Yeah, that's it. It's
Oh, it's
amazing.
White Boy Day. And then he's in The Professional, and then he's Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah.
And then, he was all over the place. Have you seen him? He played in The Contender. I don't know if you ever saw that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that, you're inspired by something, you wanna do something, I don't know how to explain it. That sounds so dumb.
Folks, we'll be back to the show in just 1 second. Now is the part of the show where I get to talk about our sponsors this week. And we have two great ones, returning sponsors that I love both very much for very different reasons. Now, the first one helps you, and the second one helps your stomach get full. So those are both great passions of mine. The first one is, of course, our friends over at BetterHelp. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. Relationships, they take work. A lot of us will drop anything to go help someone we care about, which is also, it's very important to do that. We'll go out of our way to treat other people well. We'll do these things for other people, but how often do we give ourselves the same treatment? It is so hard to take care of yourself. It just is. It's so much easier to take care of someone else. And that is where BetterHelp comes in. I try to invest in myself. And those are, they turn out to be the happiest times of my life, mainly in retrospect. Because at the time when you're doing them, it's work. It's hard to take care of yourself. But that stuff pays off. And yes, it is unfair. And we can talk for hours about how anything worthwhile doing in this life can be really hard. But taking care of yourself can sometimes be the hardest. And that's why you need help. That's why you need BetterHelp. Therapy, coaching, they do it all. They do it from the comfort of your own home sometimes. I mean, this month, BetterHelp Online Therapy wants to remind you to take care of your most important relationship, and that is the one you have with yourself. Whether it's hitting the gym, oh my God, it's hurting to read. Hitting the gym, I have to hit the gym. Making time for your haircut, I got to get a haircut as well. Or even trying therapy. You are the greatest asset. Remember, there is no your life without you. So invest the time and effort into yourself like you do for other people. BetterHelp kind of did and came about at a genius time. Really stepped up everything during a pandemic when we had to be in our homes and you could talk with a BetterHelp therapist from your home. And this is one of the worst times in our history. But BetterHelp was there to talk you through things, to suggest things, to improve and empower your own lives. BetterHelp, it's online therapy that offers video, phone, even live chat sessions with your therapist. So you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy. It really is way more affordable. And you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. So give it a try and see why over 2 million people have used BetterHelp online therapy. So this podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and So Bad It's Good listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/sobad. That's BetterHelp.com/sobad. And this is one of those things. It's like, try it. Try it for a month. See if it helps you out. See if it's hard. But see if it's hard and it actually does make a little dent, a little improvement in your life. Just try it. Just 1 month. That's it. Our next one, you guys, after you've seen your BetterHelp therapist and you're all, you got to get some Green Chef food. You got to do it. You got to have comfort food, and Green Chef is where it's at. Enjoy your greens while being green. Green Chef is the most sustainable meal kit, offsetting 100% of their plastic packaging in every box and 100% of their carbon footprint and emissions. Green Chef's pre-portioned ingredients mean you'll actually reduce your food waste by at least 25% compared to grocery shopping. So with fresh produce, that's fresh, important, premium proteins and organic ingredients, you can trust Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating well. Not just eating well, folks. Green Chef offers 35 nutritious and flavorful options to choose from every week, featuring premium, clean ingredients that are seasonably sourced for peak freshness. You guys, they sent me all these vegetables and meat, and it was fresh. Like, these vegetables were so fresh. Green Chef's pre-made and pre-measured sauces. I love they keep hitting pre-measured because they know idiots like me do not know how to measure things out. And then I'm always in the kitchen going, what's a tables? What is this tables? What is a TBSP? What's a TSP? Are you kidding me? Like, I'm that guy. And I don't bother to learn. It is, why am I like this? So their pre-measured sauces, dressings, and spices get you more chef-curated flavor in less time. Avoid long lines at the grocery store. Green Chef is so convenient with pre-portioned, easy-to-follow recipes that are delivered right to your door. It was funny. I got this from them, and then I I was like, oh my God, I'm hungry. What bad thing can I eat? And then I realized, oh my God, I have these Green Chef meals. And I was like, oh my God, that's good to eat though. I know I was kind of wanting something bad to eat, but I made it. It made me feel good that I was making it. And then it actually tasted good. And then I felt bad for wanting something bad when there was something good there all along. So go to greenchef.com/SoBad130. That's SoBad130, 130, and use code SoBad130 to get, listen to this, to get $130 off plus free shipping. That's greenchef.com/SoBad130 and use code SoBad130 to get $130 off plus free shipping. That information will be in the show description as well. And now, folks, back to the remainder of our show.
Whether it's a costume, drag, an outfit, a look, whatever you're going for, whatever you want to be, I feel like it's important to just go for it. You know, just do it. Just fucking do it. You know, and I do, like, the way I dress. Like, Ariana, like, gives me shit all the time in a good way. Like, she heckles me. Like, we have a great banter. You know, that's the one thing about Ariana and I. We have, like, such a great banter. But she'll heckle me, and I'll be like, I'll, like, sometimes just, like, wear shit because it's, like, fucking, like, give her shit. You know what I mean? To fuck with her. You know what I'm saying? Like, she, you know, when I had the blonde and different color extensions in my hair, like, it annoyed her. I know that, like, my mustache and beard, like, sometimes I do it just because, like, people hate it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, it is. I mean, you are iconic for the Lisa Manderhump or whatever the character's name is, who looks like Dee Snider. I guess a hot Dee Snider. And then, I mean, and you have the iconic, is it the New Orleans bachelor party?
Yeah.
When you guys were all in drag as well. Which, by the way, can you say, he's a fucking battered wife?
he's a fucking battered wife.
Oh my God, you
Look
guys.
at him.
I have that on a fucking coffee mug. Like, is it weird you out? Like,
We should have won an Emmy for that
but that's
moment.
what I'm saying. Like, as coming from an acting background, I know you're not acting, but when you watch these things back, do you realize how cinematic some of these things are? Of
No.
like
no
that,
idea at that moment.
Like, holy, like, we still talk about that actual shot. And I actually had a tweet where I was like, this should be studied in film classes, because the shot was like him in the background, you're in the foreground, and it's like this. The
RDP
camera shot it
Jason
so
got
amazing.
a fat raise after that one.
Yeah, it was really, really good. You know, there's a show within the show. Do you take the show serious and then, like, yo, guys, save the fighting for the show. Like, save the, like, don't like, we see things played out now on social media. When you guys started the show, it wasn't necessarily this bad, but now we got, Lala will pop off or say something in the press or that, then, and I'm like, no, save it for the show, Do you ever feel that way, or do you just ignore all of it?
That's one of the things, I mean, just in general, like, when we're filming, you don't, I mean, this is, like, on that subject, but just in general, like, that's the one thing about filming our show, is that you don't text people and, like, do these things. Like, you gotta, like, talk about it on camera. Like, you gotta save it for, like, you can't, like, have the conversation. Like, I can't break up with you through text. Like,
yeah, reenact the, yeah.
Do that. But I know that's not what you're asking. I think that obviously when people are seeing everything play out, how it's edited, like how it comes about, and, like, the reaction they're getting on social media, like, it's tough not to feel like you want to talk about it or pop off or whatever the fuck. But, like, it's not like save it for the show, because a lot of times when the show is airing, you're talking about things that happened 6 months ago. So it's not like save it for the show. But if something is, if you're bringing something new into the situation,
Somebody will pop off about you in an interview or something, and I'm like, yo, I'm not here to take shrapnel off season, you know?
Yeah.
I wonder though, I'm like, you guys now have to worry about like Ariana's funny and good on Twitter and she can handle herself and she'll, say funny things. Sheena's funny with things. Jax used to get like, you could get his goat, like, it was like blocked by Jax was a phrase.
Yeah.
Like that became like a t-shirt, blocked by Jax.
I have
Twitter.
a sweatshirt that says blocked
Yeah,
by Jax.
no, I mean, I got blocked by little baby Couchy. It's no, I didn't really, but I just didn't know if like throughout the years of like, yo, guys, don't blow this, don't like put all the good stuff into all this bullshit on the outside.
I'm always one of those people that I could tell you a story about when all that shit happened with Jax and Kristen or whatever. Me and Kristen were scheduled to do Watch What Happens Live, and we had broken up, and Ariana and I were like kind of like starting to date. But I'm always very much like, when it comes to the show, like I've always been, some people like they give, but like they don't care about the integrity of the show in a sense of like not spoiling. Obviously,
Yeah.
Jax being one of those people. Stassi that season did it. But me and Kristen did Watch What Happens Live that season. And we had already broken up, and we pretended like we were together. Oh. Nobody on the fucking show has ever done that. That's the kind of shit
wild for like.
And I was like, we should do this because we don't want to give this away.
I mean, that's really amazing and I mean, cool.
Do you think Lala would do that with Randall? Fuck no. Like nobody would do that.
No, that's what I'm
it
saying.
Kind of like
we know,
sometimes it,
we
and
know
that's
the story now. Before.
This is the thing that annoys me about my cast sometimes is that like they can't see outside of their like fucking temper tantrum that they're going through at that moment. They can't see the big picture. They don't understand that like you went through this. This was filmed. You did this. So like why are you going to go on social media? Like why are you going to like when I like see people posting about, I even said when we were season 8, there was people posting pictures at the wedding and like pictures got leaked. And I'm like, these are the people you're inviting to your wedding that are doing this?
Come on, Shep.
Right. Yeah. But I'm like, hey, do you guys, because what people know right now is that I'm not invited to the wedding.
Yeah.
So I said, why don't you post some pictures of me not in the wedding party?
Yeah.
I said that. And they're like, well, nah. And then like somebody was posting pictures and they're like, and that's what I'm saying. Like they don't, I appreciate it. I always like with this show, like I look at it, yes, people, they're like, oh, what you did for James and Raquel, like for their engagement party was so great. And I'm like, thank you. I was inspired and they are amazing. And I've loved seeing I love seeing them like come together and come into their own, even though they, broke up. But also like, and I'll admit, like I'm doing this too, because I want that engagement that's going to be on our show look amazing.
Yeah.
Like I literally had a conversation with production. I was like, what can we were working on a hot air balloon and then they land with the hot air balloon and then they have this path and then all this stuff. And they're like, well, we can't have the hot air balloon land later in the day. And I know this because I've taken a hot air balloon ride. This is why hot air balloon rides are always done early in the morning because the air is cooler.
Yeah.
And it's, it's physics. And so you have to have that like hot air in the balloon with the cold air outside in the morning. So they couldn't do that. And so I'm like, we need something spectacular. And so this is when we landed on the fireworks display and, I'm on the phone with production. We're working it out and we're going through budget. And James is like, well,
please call
he's
him
like,
please call him DJ James Kennedy. That's you got to
DJ
call
James
him
Kennedy.
DJ James Kennedy. That's
DJ James Kennedy. I call him James, but DJ James Kennedy was like, he was like, it's like like 12. I can't remember how much it was. It was a lot of money.
Expensive, yeah.
It was like $10,000 or something for like a full blown fireworks display. And he's like, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, who can spend 10 grand? But it's like, hey, dude, I'll just split it with you. Now, how easy is that decision? Now you're going to do it, right? Because you're going to get like a fireworks display. You know what I mean? And they showed it. It was the shot that I wanted. I literally said, I was like, they got to be coming back from the pathway, fireworks going off, them kissing, embracing. That shot is on the fucking show.
Yeah, I mean, it really was. Those episodes when you guys went out there were awesome episodes. And the thing, though, is that even this past couple of weeks is that like there was this scene with Lala, like with Brock of like, hey, I'm not going to pay for this. And you're like, are you going to pay for it? And you're like, yeah, I'd pay for it. Like you really see you like, but there is this thing of like, you really, I know it's for the like show like cinematically, but, you also care about about moments.
I do care.
That's what I want to bring it back
and
to.
I don't
the music.
want.
You care about these moments.
Yes,
you
I
want
don't
a
want.
Party.
Exactly. I don't want people being like, we could do this, but and this comes back to like Schwartz sometimes, and like when he's like, it's fine, it's fine. It's not fine. It's not fine. It's never fine. It should never be that way. Especially like when we're dealing with like TV and like whatever, and like the things that you do, like bartending, making drinks, like everything. Like I think it should never be, I mean, not never, but I don't want to say not never, but I'm just saying like in these moments, if I have the opportunity, if I see a situation and I know I can make it better, I'm going to fucking do it. I'm going to do it. Yeah. Especially for my friends. Like, you don't need to like, you don't need to thank me. Like, I'm getting off on it. Yeah. I'm getting off on it.
But see, that's what I was like. I was like, that's the amazing thing about like, that's the thing. I'm like, God, what a cool person in that group that brings that energy to that. And I think sometimes from the outside, I think sometimes people get jealous of that because they don't have that in them. They don't have that.
Why not?
But that's the thing. A lot of people are like, well, I always figure like you're the guy, and I have a guy in my life like this buyer that like wants to keep going. It's like, no, man, let's keep going.
Let's keep going.
Let's keep going. No, we until the sunrise. Let's keep. He just doesn't want. I don't want to go to sleep. I don't want. Let's keep sucking this life out of it. And sometimes I think that's the same way. If you're like squeezing every ounce of life out of things in a good way, and sometimes that's hard for people to take because they don't have that energy. They don't have that drive, and sometimes people are just like.
I mean, I get it. Like I get fixated on certain things, and I find that in life it works out for the better.
Yeah.
Like it's sometimes it's like, you didn't, but I don't ever find that. I really don't. When you go above and beyond, like this is like, it's like why I'm like being in the service industry. Like I enjoy that. Like I enjoy like, I'm going to make you another, like I'm literally going to make you another drink as soon as we're done with this. Like,
yeah.
But I enjoy that. Like I enjoy that like doing that. Like it's, and James McCullough like, oh, thank you so much. And I'm like, dude, guys, like the last thing I want you to be doing is being like, well, we got to cut corners here. It's like, dude, I can write this shit off. It's on the show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's the best part about getting married on the show is that you can write it off.
I mean, I'm telling you, Richella's got to be a yearly thing.
Let's
we
fucking do
gotta
it.
make that money back. I'll sell T-shirts.
I want to do a extra fucking I want to do a most.
Richella lives in everybody's hearts. Like it doesn't have to be about DJ James Kennedy and Raquel. It can be like Raquel's an angel, and also it's about the spirit of things. It's about like that. It's about people being happy together and being big and extra, and that I appreciated. But were you shocked to hear that they split up? Was that shocking to you? Or were you like, I get it, but I just don't get some like.
I don't want to talk too much about it because the reunion is coming up, but I can tell you that it is like, it's up there with the Jackson Kristen like surprise.
Wow. Okay, that's all I need to know. Is your and Schwartz's relationship as close as we see it on TV? I want it to be, but what's the reality of it?
The reality is that we're very, very close. We text numerous times throughout pretty much every single day.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we're very, very, very close. Obviously, our friendship. Like Schwartz is not my only like best friend. I'm not his only best friend. You know what I mean? Like friends that are like fam that are, but not all his best friends and not all my best friends are like on the show and like whatever. God, that sounds stupid.
No,
we
no, I get what you're saying. Is that you guys have other amazing people in your lives?
Yes, but we also like we work together. We've made a commitment. We've made a commitment to do this and work together, and we work together so well, and we also just hang out together so well.
What do you like about him? Like, I know why I like him, but what do you see in Tom? Because I do sometimes feel like there was a moment in this season where you're like, and I think you were misunderstood in what you were trying to say, where you're like, I bring him along. I really, and I think you were misunderstood in that moment. But like, I loved, like, what do you love about Tom? Like, what do you see in that dude?
I mean, I think what we have as friends is the balance. This whole thing of steamrolling, it's just not accurate as to who we are. Like Katie talking about that, like I understand when people go home and they vent. Like I vent about Schwartz. He annoys the shit out of me at times. I gotta go like scoop him up out of a fucking stall. He's passed out. He's lost his phone. He's pissed at me because I haven't returned some. I'm not great at like group chats and emails, but he'll show up and we're supposed to, when we were going into, even to get like the band for their wedding, like he showed up in flip flops and like couldn't get into like Good Time Davy Wayne's, like we help balance each other out, and we have a great like working relationship. He gets fired up. I help calm him down, and it's the same. It's like a very loving, conducive relationship, together. And we really like have this friendship of like no idea is a bad idea. Let's take it for a spin. Let's see what happens. Let's go for it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Like even with the whiskey, like this was like Schwartz's.
By the way, I'm going to do this in the intro, but the Tom's whiskey, like you guys came out with this Tom's Good Lovin'. I mean, like, where did that even come from? All of a sudden, I see like these beautiful like mahogany ads with you guys. I'm like, where the fuck did this come from? Like,
well, see, that was Schwartz's idea of doing those great ads of like Playboy in the 70s, like, and he's really good. He plants that seed, and then I'll be like, all right, well, we're ordering vintage suits, and I'm bringing in like the photographer Kelly and Tamara from the Fancy AF photo shoot, and we're gonna like we're gonna go to the Shag Chateau, like, and do the set, and like this is why we work well together. He also helps me, like when I have ideas, like he helps get those to follow through. Like we really do.
So there is this balance in your relationship.
Yes.
That sometimes we don't get to see on the show.
Yeah.
Because I think they do sometimes paint it a little differently. I know you are very passionate, but like as I'm saying, I think sometimes it's an easy narrative to say, oh, Tom's lazy, Tom doesn't do this, but he brings his own special sauce to it,
He does. And, there's certain things like Schwartz is more email and text oriented. I'm more like get on the phone with you. I'm more face to face. Schwartz is more early in the morning. I'm more late at night. He'll get at Tom like 2 hours before I will, and then he'll get to Tom like at like 7 p.m. I'll get there at 8:30. We'll hang out for an hour, and then he'll leave, and I'll stay for an hour. Like, you know what I mean? Or like, or I'll close it down. Like, this is kind of why we work well together. We're very different people, but we do love a lot of the same things. Schwartz is very expressive, and God, I just called him Tom. I think that's the first time I've ever called him fucking Tom. Wow. Schwartz is very expressive in a sense, but it's different than the way I am,
Yeah.
And we really do. Like, it's a very, we don't, I could just tell you from being in bands together, like who I want to work with and who I don't. And like, we do work very
He's
well
kind of
together.
a comedic genius too.
He is great.
He's a really fucking funny.
He's so
he
funny.
Gets humor in a different. I mean, I don't think like he's
No.
just a funny guy.
He is very funny. Schwartz is hilarious.
Yeah, I actually have this great photo of your concert at Hotel Cafe, and Schwartz is just looking at you on stage, leaning up against a pole, just like. And it's like it was a really genuine friend moment where I've been at friends' improv shows, I've been at friends of like, and he was just like. Yeah, like he was by himself. He's like, yeah, like, and it was really, really nice to see because it's like, man, this is like a TV show come to life, and you're like, oh, because the show is a reality show, and these are who you guys are,
Yeah, we that's the thing is that, I've said this in the past, whether. Not. I mean, obviously, Schwartz, it's different. With certain people, it's different. But even the people, even Jax, even Stassi, where we've butted heads or whatever, like there is still at the end of the day, like an underlying respect that we do have for each other. Because we're really putting ourselves out there, and that's the only time there's ever an issue is when somebody's like really not putting themselves out there and really sort of, which doesn't happen that often. But
I mean, have you ever had to pull a newbie aside? And like, I love Charlie. I really do like Charlie. But I'm not saying her, but like a newbie aside, I'm like, listen, man, this is what you got to do. You got to bring it a little bit like this. Like
I do that. I actually Ariana and I both have done that over the years with everybody from Vale to Billy
Vale,
to
that's a name. Wow.
Yeah, to even Laura Lee, like all these people, like we always like. I'm instead of like coming down on them, even like with James and with Lala when they first started, Brittany, we always, instead of being like, yo, like, you think you can handle this? I'm not going to act like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, listen, it's okay. If you need anything, if you have any questions, like whatever, like, let me know, just understand, like, you can be as much of a part of this as you want to be. You cannot come in here. I'm just telling you right now. You cannot come in here and start like commenting about or making strong accusations about somebody or who they are or what is happening in their lives without putting yourself out as well.
Yeah, it's a two-way street.
Yeah, exactly. So if you want to get into the mix of like the shit going down, you got to understand that is going to come right back to you as well. So you better be ready to like be accountable in the same way.
Well, that's what I was thinking, and I don't comment on. I don't want you and people are going to kill but I really like to run a positive show, but I have to this season is that you see Lala talking so much shit about Sheena and Brock, and then after this we see a whole thing disintegrate. And we have her on record saying all of these things where it's like, it's adding this layer to the show of like, oh man, like, damn, like that, like she's going so hard. And then we know what happens to her in the end. And it's kind of brutal because we see what's about to like come down the pike for her,
Dude, that's why it's like you.
And I'm sure, like, I'm saying, like, I know you have a genuine respect for everybody in the cast. So that's got to even be hard for you guys to watch. I'm like, oh, fuck.
I love Lala in a lot of ways, and I think that she is really cool in a lot of ways and really great in a lot of ways. And obviously, there will always be people on our show that don't get along all the time and the butt heads, strong personalities. That's what makes our show, That's what it is. But to act like you're kind of better and above, to me,
but that's a defense too. That's a defense mechanism. Like that's like it's a
yeah.
It's a character because there's a lot of fear inside. Or that's at least how I
just think that's like really lame. Like, oh, I'm better than you because I have an assistant or I live in this house or that's
well, you can
not.
See that's what's so sad and real about it is that you see how fast all that can crumble, like on like that, you know?
Well, it also takes me back to, you know, seasons back. You know, I remember talking to Lisa at one point, and she was like, you know, I was telling her, I was like, well, she's like, well, what? You look like you're stressed. What are you stressed, darling? Like what? Like, and I'm like, well, you know, I have this going on, and like, it was like when my band was performing, like when we were opening up for Martha Davis, and I was like, and I got this, and she's like, darling, like I have this going on, I have this going on, I have this going on. I was like, Lisa, I told her this. I was like, just because somebody has to walk 2 miles to grab water, like for their family for the day, doesn't mean that their problems are any less like important than yours.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah. I mean, everybody's
it's
living their own
perspective.
experience.
It's
you know?
perspective.
Yeah, I mean, about season 8, you know, the show ended on this kind of beautiful speech that Lisa said to Jax. But we see you guys all like you watched over the beaches. We see everybody walk out, and I'm like, whoa, is this the end? Everybody just goes their own way, because it was like this monologue about growing up and about what life hands you. And, you know, it was very deep. And I'm like, did I just watch the last episode of Vanderpump Rules where Jax is like, it's like, not your show, Jax. It's my show. Like Lisa finally snapped too. And I was just like, whoa, did you think that was the end? Because COVID happened, and then the COVID happened, the Stassi happened, the Kristen happened. Like, were you like, oh my God, everything's like just falling, you know?
No,
Yeah.
I didn't. I mean, if it would have been the end at that moment in time, I would have been like, no.
Do you hear the rumors? Like, I mean, 2 years ago, the rumors was like, okay, there's a Tom spinoff. You guys are the Lisas now, Schwartz and Sandy. You're the lead, and then we get introduced a new bunch of youngsters and all that.
Well,
like,
there were
was
talks.
That
There
rumor.
was actually, you know, between us and your 100,000 listeners, there was actual talks of. That was one of the reasons why we were bringing in. I don't want to say we. That's not. It wasn't
I know
we.
you don't mean
They.
Yeah.
They were bringing in new cast members. That's why we had 23 cast members in season 8, and they were literally showing split screens because they were going to look at doing a spinoff of, you know, the OG cast in the Valley, but then like some people being also major cast members on. There were talks of this.
Yeah.
You know, where it would still be Vanderpump Rules. You know, obviously Schwartz and I would be main cast members on that, but then there would be like the Valley or whatever, kind of like
Valley
Laguna
Village,
Beach into the hills type thing going on here, where it's like focus on the next step and like, you know, families and other businesses and all that stuff. But then, you know,
I mean, COVID happened. We had all this other stuff happen, but
people got fired, and
people got fired. I mean, like then all of a sudden it was like the cast got whittled down, you know?
And then it was like, okay, well then we're just gonna they're just gonna stick with Vanderpump Rules, and a lot of that also had to do with, you know, there was a lot of pressure. Schwartz and I talked about opening up our own place, because as amazing as it is to be a part of Tom Tom, and I mean, it's awesome. And I'd never take anything for granted. And that's another thing, like when you talk about earlier about like, you know, me like being very lucky, like I also feel a responsibility with that luck to take that and to like really do the most with it. So just because there's so many people that aren't as lucky as I am. So the last thing I want to do is fucking piss it away and not take advantage of the opportunity that I've been given, the lucky opportunity I've been given. So it's one of the reasons why I do go after these things and I do these things, because I feel a responsibility to all the other people that are here in LA, you know, that aren't given that. And
I do want to point, you and Schwartz were two of the only people during this time where you did cameo after cameo and you donated all of the money to Tom Tom employees. You just sat there with Tom. The two Toms were sat there and did some of the most entertaining cameos. You can find them online. But you donated all of that money. Like that's
We were gonna do,
but nobody made you do that. Nobody
No.
was telling you got to take care of this.
No, but that's the thing is like, you would have done the same thing, Ryan.
Yeah.
You would have fucking done the same thing. I know you would have. Dude, come on. I know you would have.
No, I mean, I would hope I would, but that's another thing that I love about is like, like holy shit, like
You got to look at
the
yourself.
older I get, it's like that's what you're like. There's just good people. I think you and Ariana are good people, and that's why I kind of scream as loud as I do on the podcast about people that I'm like, no, they're pissing this away. That's why Jax frustrates me to hell because I'm like, he pissed this away. There's lies. There's this, and I rage against these things. I rage against.
It annoys
the
me
machine,
that he acted too good to be a bartender.
It's what I'm saying, and
Dude, you know, if
but
all
he
this
would,
shit went
he would
away,
throw
man.
everybody under the bus in a second. Like I watched a scene with him and Lala and Brittany where he lied to Brittany's face. Like I never said that about Lala, and we have it on film. I'm like, we have it. He knows it's
Dude,
film.
why would you walk? How can you walk around like with like that bad credit? Like it would kill me if my word had that little credit. There's no credit. Jesus, it's like flagrant about bad credit.
I was pitching a cartoon show where I was like, you guys, the younger years, like it's an animated show that takes place in Sandoval's apartment with Schwartz and Jax. I've written fan fiction. There was also a fan fiction I wrote as a joke that a baby got dropped off at Sir, and it was Jax's baby, but you guys had to raise the baby like 3 men and a baby.
Oh my God.
And it was the season finale.
That's hilarious.
And then okay, so in finality, I swear, we're like...
Wait. What were we talking about? So, no, fuck. We were talking about something I can't remember.
And don't worry, I'll edit all the pauses.
No, I know.
We were talking about the show. You said you and Schwartz were under so much pressure.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. So, Schwartz and I started working on wanting to do our own bar, like I was saying, that we're very, obviously very appreciative of Tom Tom, but like Tom Tom that's like
It's a
Ken
machine.
it's Ken and Lisa with Nick and Lane and like what they've done, and they obviously brought us in and like we added like our flavor, like we're,
Your spokesman, too.
Exactly. We're there and we go there and we have the energy, they have other places. But we were at the point where like, I'm like, I want to do something that's like us, you know what I mean? That's like really totally us. And so we had this idea, and this was like back in fucking 2019, and we started talking about it, and we had met with Greg Morris even like before we started working with Lisa, and like
Who we see on the show,
yeah, on the Belmont, Spanish Kitchen,
But yeah, I
numerous
love
other
Belmont.
places. Yeah.
I've seen Tom do an amazing karaoke at the Belmont on Sunday. Yeah.
And amazing, and we've probably amazingly gotten drunk together.
Yeah. That's something that you're always a good time. But you've done these things with this guy, and you're like, okay, this could be. something that we could get into.
and so we put that on the back burner, obviously, with Tom Tom and all that stuff, and all that shit happened, and then COVID happened, and everything shut down, and it was like, what are we doing? What is going on? But at that point, like, we had told that to production, and production is like hanging on to that. And even when they talked about doing a spinoff with, old cast and new cast and whatever, it was very much reliant on us opening a place. There was tremendous, extreme pressure on us to do that. And I tell you, man, like, it was constant, and it was also like, guys, like, we don't know, like, a lot of the cast is gone, like, we need something to have another season, like, what is the next season gonna be if it's not gonna be you guys open? So like,
If they were like, will one of you guys cheat on somebody?
no, it's
I'm
just
joking.
it was basically like,
big setup pieces.
You guys essentially open up a place, or I don't know if we're gonna fucking like have another season. So that's the kind of pressure
God, jeez.
that we're on, and also like trying to, I mean, dude, like trying to find investors in a place, like while COVID is happening, and trying to figure out like where is that place gonna be? What is it gonna be? When is this ever gonna open? Like in that point in time, I like bought a gun, like bought food that can last me 35 years. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like we didn't know we're fighting over toilet paper and canned goods. You know, finally we end up getting the fun. We lock in the space, and we then it's not locked in, and then it's like, okay, like production. You know, there were people that like own buildings that weren't paying rent, and that like also were renting from people that own buildings. And so it's like, do I give my rent to the person who's not paying the mortgage? There's all these things that happen like all over the place. Like I had, so there was a situation that I don't want to get too deep into, but like, it's like, do we have this place? Do we not? Are we taking over this place? You know, and we were in limbo, and when we locked in on this position, on this space, you know, there wasn't. I can't go too deep into it.
You don't need to. Like I'm not.
But the amount of stress just in dealing with that, just in locking in, like that whole thing, to be reliant on getting another season, right?
Yeah.
And then we sort of lock it in, and then you can understand, and I hope people don't take this the wrong way, but like going through all of that, creating like, you know, not just with the cameo, but like taking that further to like, not only because like I feel like even us, man, like, you know, I bought this house assuming we were going to get another season.
Yeah, that's what I always wonder.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Not
like
about you in particular, but I do wonder about you. I wonder about Jax. I wonder about Schwartz.
Yeah.
Like you guys all of a sudden went from small apartments to huge houses.
Yes.
And I'm not saying
and
this,
also like like wanting to use this house to you know, I'm building a bar in there. Like I would have like
you're building your dream home.
Yes,
your
but
dream
also
space
yes.
to shoot.
Exactly. And we're also going to use this space for like this house is a cozy house, but it's also like we're going to be filming in that bar. We filmed at the kitchen, like we all over the place for other things, YouTube stuff, everything, right?
Ariana's drink stuff.
Exactly. And so not getting another season, it's like, okay, so I got to like create other like avenues of business. So we got on Cameo, we started raising money, but then like after we did that, we're like, well, let's make some money because we need to make money to pay our mortgages. And then it's also like the Amazon thing and all this stuff like that I helped bring in.
Yeah.
Like that I created because I have a publicist that does these things, and I have like a team that does this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You'll be
like,
able to go to Atlantic City or Vegas or do like open places.
Yeah,
and you know,
like
you guys together are stronger than you guys apart. You know
exactly, and I fully appreciate this. But like, that's one of the reasons why, and I don't want to like sound whatever, but that's one of the reasons why maybe I come across as a little short or whatever with people. With people when they're like, yo, like, oh, like you need to blah blah blah, and like this person's got an idea on the name, and I'm like you don't have any idea, like the amount of stress that we went through to like make sure that we all have a fucking season.
Yeah.
Do you understand the annoyance of it?
But see, I totally understand that, and I think you feel that vibe sometimes in this season, not just from you, but from everybody. But then there are other people that aren't. I don't want to. But like sometimes they're not rising to the challenge. They're not rising to.
They don't have the mentality of like, we're starting off this season with James proposing to Raquel. We're coming back after losing half our fucking cast. And you guys don't have the mentality to want to make that spectacular, to want to make it amazing at the Coachella field with fireworks and fucking all the stuff. Like, you don't feel that pressure? Because I sure as fuck do. And like, I'm doing something about it. Are you doing anything about it?
Yeah.
No.
But if you guys do another season, would you like to include your band as part of it? Would you like to include?
God.
Because I know you have the
Sorry
Schwartz and Sandy's.
for going in a
No,
like.
all good. But I'm saying like the Schwartz and Sandy's of it all is one thing. We expect it. It's great plot line. But
I can tell you
be willing
like
to share your musical journey on the show.
I can tell you, Ryan, that this season it's been stressful to like watch to see like what they include and what they don't include, and that's fine. It's love and hate and war or whatever the fucking saying is. Yeah,
all is fair in love and war.
Yeah, whatever. I thank you, but and with opening this bar and the amount of like stress that we've gone through together, that the music is like the thing that just it's been such like it's really kept me out of like a dark place. You get into a negative spiral. The music has kept me in such a great place. It is worth everything to me. I would love for
you said
production.
In an article, you said it's amazing. Sometimes you said for a reality show to be able to then dip your toes in these things. Like you said, I didn't think I could do it. But it's allowing you this kind of cool opportunity.
Yes.
And the cool thing is, you're bringing it. Actually, this band is bringing it. This isn't like. That's what I started this, but I want to remind you guys again. This isn't shit. This is real. You're going to see a real band. You're going to see real music. You're going to hear a saxophone. You're going to hear a beautiful woman singing. You're going to hear, Tom doing his thing. You're going to see everybody dressed. You're going to see these amazing things. I mean, would we want to hear a Pierce the Arrow cover? Sure. You're not going to get it. You're not going to get it. But what you're going to get is songs that you've heard your
now
entire
that you just
life
said it.
and love. Yeah, I mean, but I'm saying it was one of the, me and my roommate still talk about it, is like, it was just such a great night, and it had been so long since we had a great night in public because of this fucking COVID stuff where I forgot what a concert was. And I was like, oh man, this is rad. Like and it was all songs I knew. It was all the songs I love, and I know you guys love them too. And it was just what I needed. It was what the doctor ordered. And did a piece of the ceiling fall down on Raquel's nose? Yeah, it kind of did. It was kind of did. And my roommate goes, were you scared it was going to hit your nose? And she was like, why? And my roommate was like, because that's a plot on the show about your nose. And she's like, oh yeah. And I was like, oh my God. And then DJ James Kennedy opened up for Tom, and
he did a great job.
He did awesome. But I kind of got to say, I was bummed out he didn't play Top Man. And no, I genuinely, unironically love Top Man. And my roommate said, why didn't you play Top Man? He's like, oh man, thank you so much. Yeah, I didn't play. It's Tom's night. And I just wanted to play. I want to play the songs that get everybody. It's not my night. I don't want to play my songs. It's Tom's night. But he goes, but thank you so much. Thank you. And I just thought it was so cute that he was like, Top Man would have ruined the vibe. We gotta keep it all in. Like, I just thought it was so funny as hell. And I just thought it was such an interesting thing of like where you and DJ Dave City started to where that was now. And the final questions I want to ask you, what would you like to take back from the show? What is your proudest moment on the show? And are you happy with how the show has portrayed you over the years? So that's a big one.
Wow.
And by the way, don't worry, on the intro, I'm going to be talking about the dates and all of this stuff.
Oh, thank you. Of proudest moment of the show. I mean, it's tough. Honestly, I know we've had our moments of being idiots, and myself included. I'm very proud of the battered wife moment because it just wasn't planned. But like my proudest moment is, Ken and Lisa asked us to be a part of Tom Tom, and they were very much they knew my work ethic and like how much I care about everything I do, but they also mostly were into like Schwartz and I's bond and our friendship and
they saw that.
yeah. And I'm very proud of, in a way, getting and I give them credit for giving us that opportunity, for me then taking that opportunity to give them like even more like what they really wanted. Because they're like, okay, we're gonna, what if we call this place Tom Tom? And I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna take that moment and like get these matching white suits.
Yeah.
And I talked about this motorcycle sidecar idea, and I thought about like you cannot rent a motorcycle sidecar. You can't like
You got to custom build it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that like it was amazing, man.
Wait.
Like,
So I do think it's interesting because you were one of the people that build up these moments in your head. You can picture it. You need the music. You need this. Does life live up to your things that you've built in your head? Does it live up?
yes.
Yeah.
And that's what inspires me to keep doing it.
Yeah.
If it didn't, I wouldn't be inspired to keep doing it. And when you do like those things, like even the drag moment, even the wedding thing with the best man, and then even like the motorcycle sidecar situation with the like, that's what I'm saying. Like that was one of my proudest moments because I envisioned this idea of picking up Schwartz, telling him that I'm taking an Uber to pick him up, and then we're going to Tom Tom, but then showing up in a motorcycle sidecar. Like,
You saw it.
I saw it, and it happened, and it was one of the coolest, fucking best, amazing, best days of my life. And it inspires you to keep doing it. And I want to tell everybody, man, like when you have an idea, like I always asked.
What I consistently have said on this show is that the passion that you have,
Like, don't take no for an answer.
that has inspired me. That is like I've started this 2 years ago, and I thought I was like, I gotta, like if I'm not getting listeners, I gotta build this thing. It's taking so long, and then I just kept going. I just kept putting everything into it. I put all of it into it, and I gotta say, like that really was inspired by you, and that's why I don't want to like.
Really?
I hate to kiss your ass, but like I've told Logan,
Ryan,
I've told
that's so
Ariana.
fucking sweet
No,
of
but
you to
I've
say,
talked about
man.
on the pod. I said this guy does it so much better than anybody else does it in life. And that inspires me. And you do it with a smile on your face because sometimes I don't want to get out. Like sometimes I don't want to put on a smile. Sometimes I
either.
don't. And you put on
It's
this.
okay.
But you're nice to people. Not Katie sometimes, but you know what I'm saying. No, but I'm saying that is inspiring to me. That is why, like I said, like that is somebody that makes things better for everybody around them. And there's only so few people that have that talent. But it's something that you got to treasure, and it's something that you got to, and don't get it beaten out of you ever. Don't and I know you're not going to, but like, that was just like, I don't want you to ever change. I want you to keep doing that. That's why I'll support your band. I want to scream it from the, go fucking see this, you guys. It's
By the
fucking
way, Ryan,
good.
Dude, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, man. First of all, for saying that, but also, like, dude, that was one of the sweetest, most amazing articles. Thank you, man. I really...
No, like, I'm saying you have meant a lot to me on the show and off, and you've always been such a nice dude, but also a very talented dude. It'd be one thing if your band sucked. I would still, by the way, it would be interesting because I would still be there, but I would still be there, but you didn't suck. And that's what I want to make, because like a lot of people want people to fail nowadays. Like they do. Like it's kind of enjoyable to watch somebody fail because our lives kind of are sad. Like, it's like hard. It's a hard time. But it's a hard time. So like,
This is why I don't watch... Sorry.
No. I know you don't watch.
I don't watch Housewives. I don't watch a lot of other reality TV because I get very much like secondhand anxiety and embarrassment because I'm like on a show and like, because I'm on Vanderpump Rules. I get very like when I see a train wreck coming. Like Ariana will tell you. Like I have to like get up and leave the room and say, "Oh, he's leaving the room." I'm like, I cannot watch this. I'll like go upstairs. I'll like want to get as far away from it as possible. I'll go outside.
Yeah.
Like it like really like triggers me. Like it triggers my anxiety because I don't like to see people fail. I hate it. Even if I don't necessarily the biggest fan, I just hate watching it.
Yeah.
But dude,
But that's what I'm saying. Like, this isn't. The band is good. You are good. Like, I mean, you know, for anybody, for any hater, like, I hate to break it to you, I thoroughly enjoyed myself. Like, I mean, I was joking around of like, I said, you know, because it's a cover band, and cover bands are sometimes known as wedding bands or something. I was like, finally, somebody made a wedding band cool again, because it was something where it's like, you guys have style. I mean, I wasn't even looking at you the whole time. I was looking at your band.
That's exactly.
Like, I was like, you know, I was looking at your band. I was like, these are real musicians. Like, that was wild. Like, you know, like you said earlier, there's a horn section.
Did you see when Luke keyboardist, like Luke in like when we were doing Danger Zone, and I was like this.
Yeah, fuck the way you did Danger Zone, which is like, I was like it really brought me back to so many great memories. I mean, Kenny Loggins is a genius, but I'm saying will we be seeing anything? Will you be doing? I'm not telling the whole set list to everybody, but will you be doing new songs? Will you add songs into your repertoire?
Like always. My goal is to actually. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring Danielle on. Awesome female singer.
Oh, amazing!
And also like Luke, Colin, Randon, and Chris. And also Jason, like when we do Freedom, that's a 5-part harmony. But I want to be able to cover any song. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a saxophone player. That's another, like, to get back to what you were saying. Like, I always like my bad joke about like don't take no for an answer. But also there's another thing. There's another thing that I always I don't say why. We all, as human beings, always ask why. Like, why is this? Why is this? This is what makes us human beings. This is what separates us from, you know, like other species of animals that are on the planet. We ask why. Why does this happen? Why does this? But my whole thing is when you're in a situation, it's like the question I always ask is, why not? Why not? Why not do this? Why not have a brass section? Why not?
And it leads to these beautiful moments, and that's what I like to. That's what I'm saying. Like that truly inspires me and has made me. And it's so silly to come from a reality show, but now my whole living is based around reality shows and this stuff. It really did give me new perspective on my life. You know,
I'm sure you do. You're like, why not do this?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, that's what happened. I used to during the pandemic. I started doing 6-hour podcasts. Because I was like, nobody's doing 6-hour podcasts because that's insane, right?
That's insane.
It's insane. That's a radio, because I grew up on talk radio. They would just do all day. I go, well, everybody's in a pandemic. I'm still working a full-time job. But what if I did 3 guests? I brought my parents on. I made it like a show. Like I made it like a review.
Nice.
And so I would do 6 and I would stay up 24 hours a day. Jesus. I would be like processing audio at 4:30 in the morning, having to go to work at like 6:30 from my computer. And then but it was all that was driving me, because it was like, this needs to be done. This needs to be done. And then finally it was like, okay, now last January 1st, I was like, what if we do daily? Nobody's doing daily. Nobody's doing a podcast every day, Monday through Friday. You know, nobody's doing that.
No.
And so I started doing that. And that's where iHeartRadio found me. And that's where they were like, you will do this every day. And I'm like, I will do this every day. You know?
That's amazing. Seriously.
But that's what I'm saying. I feel very Sandovalian.
Yes,
and
that is.
Yeah. So
I love that.
But that's the thing. And it goes back to even what we said about Dan Cook earlier, is that like, I will outwork you. Like it's not normally in me, but I love this. So I don't mind working hard at this. Like I don't mind it.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day,
you're like,
what I'm
like
working
Captain
at,
America, you're like, I can fucking do that.
Well,
I can do
that's
this
what
all
I'm saying.
day.
I thought about how silly it is that these are the shows that I love. Like I always wondered, why do I love these shows? Why? Like I love like foreign films. I love I love Shakespeare. Why do I love this stuff? So, you know, people sometimes look down on this stuff. Why? And I was like, well, I can give you a thesis on why this is amazing and why this is the best show of humanity. But I will also say it's like, there's a reason. Like there was a reason, because I'm meant to do this podcast and I'm meant to talk to these people. Like it all now fits in my head of why I was attracted to all this stuff.
I think too, low key, one of the reasons why you and other people, were drawn to our show is because in all aspects of our lives are like when the show was happening in the beginning, what happened, like there was very much a relatability that like you weren't really seeing anywhere else at the time, especially in the beginning. A relatability of like friends and like how, Ryan, like if you meet somebody and they just call you a piece of shit or whatever, you're like, oh, okay, I'll just carry on with the rest of my life. But when somebody like, you're just like, okay, fuck you. I don't like this person.
Yeah.
But when you have people that you love and care about and have been through things and have like scraped change together to go like buy ramen noodles together, like that's the kind of shit we have fucking been through.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, you
mentioned with Katie Maloney when she has fucking had $30 in her account, and we've been like, oh,
you were real, like you lived the lives that we. But see, that's why it's because we've all lived those lives. We were all in shitty apartments. We were all, and like to watch you ascend is wild because. In another timeline, that might not have happened. In another timeline, like that's, Schwartz, you guys met him on fucking Craigslist or something.
I met him on Craigslist.
Like, that's wild. Like, that's like, you and Jax knew each other before Schwartz, right? Like, you like,
met each other. Like,
and how does that happen? Like, and then he gets dragged.
So
like, he's got to even be
weird.
more blown away than you because it's like, look at my life. Like, this is a Craigslist ad.
Yeah.
Most people wouldn't even do, I think it's
so weird.
And by the way, we're now getting totally off topic. We've talked for 2 hours. You guys, this is my interview that I really, really waited for so many, like I honestly, for over a year to do because I really, you guys know how I feel about Tom. So,
well, Ryan,
Yeah,
hold on one
yeah.
second here. I only there was very, very, very few. Hold on. I said I wanted to get you an actual artifact.
oh no.
An actual fucking artifact. And these were very expensive to make.
Oh no.
More than you would think.
Okay.
And we only had like a few extra besides the cast made.
No! It's oh my God.
Wait.
Oh my God. Oh, you guys, it's the Coachella wristband. Coachella has these very special wristbands that oh my, dude, I'm going to cry. This is Coachella.
Yeah.
Dude, you did not have, I can give this back to you, but
Absolutely not.
So Tom Sandoval, I'm going to be at the show next Friday. If you are Saturday. I'm going to be at the show next Saturday. If you are in town, please come. Come party with me. This is a party and a half.
Come party with us.
Yes, come party. Like, it really is a party. And if you
we're gonna do a themed cocktail behind the bar, a themed shot. We're gonna have our new merch.
But you're also hitting the East. Like, if you guys want to see him in New York, you can.
Yeah.
If you want to see him, like, I have like across what are the cities that you're going to be hitting on this round?
So we are going to. Oh my gosh! We are calling this the spring training.
And I'm going to be linking this in the show description, you guys. So check that out.
Okay, hold on one second. So we are going to be in Sellersville, Pennsylvania, at the Sellersville Theater. Sorry. So we're going to be at Sellersville, Pennsylvania, at the Sellersville Theater. We are going to be at the Pie Shop in D.C., in Washington, D.C. So on March 6th, we are going to be at on March 6th, we're going to be at Sellersville Theater in Sellersville, Pennsylvania. On March 7th, we're going to be at the Pie Shop in D.C., in Washington, D.C. We're going to be at the Crystal Ballroom on March 9th in Boston, Massachusetts.
Nice.
We're going to be on March 10th at Smithtown, New York, Long Island, at Napper Tandy's. And then we are closing it out March 13th at the Gramercy Theater in motherfucking Manhattan, New York.
You guys, My favorite band, Counting Crows, played at the Gramercy Theater. So it's, but that's amazing. So the Gramercy Theater, you guys, is a beautiful venue. It is a legendary venue. But if you are in any of those towns, I highly suggest you. And by the way, if you do go to any of these shows, I want you to call the show, and I do want to do interviews with you of just a quick thing of what you thought of the show, what was your high moments of the show. This is going to be in March, so I'm going to remind you in February. So I'm going to keep reminding you because it is imperative to me that this band succeeds. So, we got to support things with good vibes and good people that want people to succeed. And there's talent here, so I don't mind recommending it to you. So, Tom Sandoval, is there anything else that you would like to say?
Yes.
Yes.
It's something that nobody knows just yet, but I'm going to tell you. I have original music that is getting recorded in February.
Oh, see, that's what I was going to ask. I was like, would we hear, because by the way, you said, it's all cover songs. So I was like, should I even ask if there will be an original song? But there will be.
There will be. I've done this now 4 times around. So I am doing this right and working with the label. And I'm not going to talk about it just yet, but we are going to be working on some original music. But primarily, it's a cover band.
Yeah.
But I promise I won't put anything out that is not at least TIP caliber.
Yeah. By the way, I watched that episode, the video episode the other day, and I got mad. I listened to it on Spotify on the way here, and it was like, let's touch the public. It's catchy. Nobody can deny that was a catchy song,
You can't deny
But by the way, that is another Sandovalian of you put everything into that music video. You had everything, and it's weird. It's like this show reminds me of the good parts of high school and the bad parts of just these people growing up and really putting their all into it. And this show means so much to so many people. So it is, to me, you are a legend, and this is legendary to have you on this show. You are part of an original cast that really did change reality TV, and I think you are meant for way more than all of this. So it's really nice.
Thank you very much.
It's not like an NFL player where you have to worry about what they're doing. You have a very big future, and you don't have CTE, so you're great. And the other thing is, I want to let you know that I will be spending my weekend money at Schwartz and Sanders. I will be, and hopefully that will be coming sooner rather than later. Tom Sandoval, you made my year already my wish come true in 2022. This is gonna be overwhelming for me to kiss your ass this hard. So
shut up!
I love you, dude.
Fucking shit, man. Thank you. I'm honored to be on this with you.
Okay. Hopefully we'll talk to you again in the next year.
Yes, you definitely will.
Bye.